All right, let's call to order the Sparks City Council meeting for January 27th with a roll call.
Mayor Lawson.
Here.
Council members Abbott.
Here.
Vanderwell.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Bybee. Here. Rodriguez.
Here.
City Attorney Duncan. Here. City Manager Louthan.
Here.
We have a quorum. Thank you.
Okay, let's start with our invocation by Pastor Brian Smith from Summit Christian Church.
Wanted to read from the book of Colossians. Jesus is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn over all creation. For in him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things have been created through him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He is the head of the body, the church. He is the beginning and the firstborn from among the dead, so that in everything he might have the supremacy. In Jesus, we declare your supremacy here. God, I thank you for this council. I thank you for the folks in this room. I thank you for the city that we live in. And God, we know that you hold all things together and your plan is perfect. So we invite your presence here among us, God. Would you dwell in this space? Would you dwell in our city? We thank you, Lord, for those in our city, the first responders. We thank you for teachers and librarians and business owners and moms and dads and homes and those that are helping with recovery and those that are helping the city move forward. God, would you give this council wisdom? Would you guide and direct the conversations here and the decisions made? And we praise you again for the soil under our feet and the city that we get to live in. We praise you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. Diane, will you lead us in the pledge?
You'll please join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Okay, we're going to move on to public comment. We'll start with Stacy Ingram. Come on down here, Stacy. That chair right there has the light on.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Stacy Ingram. I'm the Regional Director for Reach Air Medical Services. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak for a few minutes. I'm here to announce the new addition to an EMS and fire asset. We are bringing a helicopter as of the 1st of February to the Sparks and Reno communities. This helicopter will serve all the local hospitals, EMS providers, police, fire. We will be in service 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year. We will be meeting with the local PSAPs to advise on how to reach out to this helicopter. We will be available, anytime we are needed. We work jointly with all of those agencies. We have had conversations with each of the agencies and have received an overwhelming amount of support. So I was just here to just kind of bring that to your attention.
Thank you, Stacy. Who do you have with you?
I'm Hagen Sandoval.
This is Hagen.
So I'm actually our membership manager. So part of the thing that REACH does is we have a membership program for our patients that if, microphone. I think I'd be good at this finally. But our membership program, what's really cool about it is if you're a patient and you're flown in our aircraft, it's an annual fee that covers everyone in the hull, but it's I think $99 or $79. You pay nothing out of pocket. So we really try to go above and beyond to kind of protect our patients because usually those flights aren't cheap.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right. Tom Dunn. Followed by Tom Dunn.
One's for later on, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir. I got it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and City Manager Luthan. For the record, Tom Dunn, Vice President representing the Reno Airport and Sparks Firefighters Local 731. We're here today to bring your attention a concern of one of the items that has been coming before you regarding the civil service regulation changes. This has been a considerable amount of work that's gone into these much-needed updates of the current city's civil service procedures, and we are in agreement with almost all the proposed amendments and applaud Human Resources efforts to simplify and more accurately reflect the processes in the city of Sparks. The one change that we have issue with is how the new changes will impact the review process after a promotional examination. Historically, in the Sparks Fire Department, there They have taken the written and practical exams for fire apparatus operator or captain, and then have the option to schedule a review of the scores and challenge questions on the written or graded scores or the practical portion that the test taker believes were inaccurate or unfairly administered. This process over the last couple of decades has continuously resulted in parts of the exam process being adjusted, or even in a couple extreme cases resulted in whole sections being thrown out. The resulting final scores ultimately are a much fairer and more accurate representation of the candidates. The initial scores are adjusted, and in many cases, individuals will end up challenging their rankings on the list, resulting in people getting interviews who would not have, and in some cases, individuals have had their status reduced to where they do not make the final eligibility list. This process creates work for HR and the fire department specifically, involves subject matter experts on the test creation committee, but also has resulted in a more and fair and complete process. The new verbiage removes the process and only allows for review if a candidate files an appeal about a specific portion of the test. They then can review only the part that they appealed. This removes the candidate's ability to see how they were graded on the entirety of the test and challenge sections they believed were unfairly graded. When the new civil service regulations were proposed prior to October of 2024 civil service meeting, these concerns were brought to the attention of the HR department. Emails were exchanged showing the long-standing process, including HR emails to candidates asking them to schedule their reviews, including one exchange in April of 2023, where after HR sent the standard email requesting candidates from the captain's assessment to set up a time for review. HR took it upon themselves to change the established process and state that there was no longer a way to review a test and that they must appeal. The Civil Service Commission listened to public comment in October and directed HR to solicit input from city employees and department heads on the verbiage in the proposed civil service regulations, then bring the updated regulations package to the January meeting. HR and Assistant Manager McCormick did actively solicit feedback from concerned 731 members as well as department heads. However, changes made to the regulations as presented in January did not change anything to do with the promotional testing process. There was discussion. Oh, I apologize. Anyway, in closing, we would like to have the council table this discussion or the approval of this item for today so that 731 can provide additional input and comment to members of the council as well as city staff. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. All right, anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the dais. Looking for an approval of the agenda. Mr. Abbott.
I move to approve the agenda as submitted.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
We've got a motion and a second. I got to switch my mind over to the computer now. Please vote. Thank you. We don't have, Joe can't vote? Okay, motion carries unanimously. All right, minutes, we're looking for approval of the minutes. Any additions, subtractions? Not, looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks City Council meeting for January 13th, 2025.
Mr. Anderson.
Second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? See none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Is Joe's computer broken? So you can verbally check in for him. When he verbally votes, you'll vote for him. Thank you. Okay. 7.1. This was, thank you for this, Nick and Wes. Appreciate this. A Patriot Award to the City of Sparks and Mayor Ed Lawson. Johnny Shorenick? Thank you, Johnny. Come on up here. Have a seat there.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson, council members. So my name is Johnny Skronik, and I'm a volunteer with the Employer Support of the Garden Reserve, or ESGR. ESGR is a Department of Defense office that was established in 1972 to promote cooperation and understanding between Guard and Reserve component service members and their employers. Part of the way that we do that is through employer outreach and recognition. In order to protect our great state and nation and serve the needs of both the president and the governor, it takes what we like to refer to as a three-legged stool. The first leg of that stool is the service of the service member. The second leg is the support of their family and friends. And the third and often overlooked piece is the support of the employer. So I'm here today to read a quick narrative. The City of Sparks has multiple employees that are going on orders due to military mission requirements. Mayor Ed Lawson has supported these military families and has cultivated a patriotic environment throughout the city. The City of Sparks has supported the country and the state of Nevada by ensuring these military members are taken care of. So it is my honor to present Mayor Lawson with the Patriotic Employer Award.
Thank you very much. I'm going to take a picture, post it on Facebook with millions and millions of viewers. More than at least a couple of them.
Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Hi, how's it going? Congratulations.
Just to give you some context, Nick Dana is currently deployed. He's in our city attorney's office. He's currently deployed serving our nation. And I believe, we don't know exactly where he is, but we know he's out there serving our country. Nick told me he was going to put me in for this award. I appreciate it. Obviously, this award goes to the entire city of Sparks and our leadership. This is not a mayor's award. This is a City of Sparks award. So thank you to all our employees and all of our people. All right, let's move on to 7.2. Presentation from the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority. Hello, Darren.
Mayor Lawson, how are you?
Wonderful.
You want me to sit over here? I'm just going to pull this up for you. Mayor Lawson, members of the council, Manager Luthan, Darren Griffin, for the record, President and CEO of the Reno Tahoe Airport Authority, here to do the what we call annual update, just airport update for you all. You have a very full agenda today. I will go as quickly as I can and get through the updates here and then take any questions that you might have. You always have questions around air service. All groups do. I will certainly touch on that today. We'll also talk about some things happening at both airports on our land, update you on our capital program at RNO, all the construction projects we're trying to get built there, and then some of the things that are happening in the community, and then, of course, questions at the end. You know who we are. Thank you for two fantastic trustees who are here in the audience with me today. Trustee Sean Carey and Trustee Art Sperber, along with the rest of our board, are really important contributors to everything that we're doing. So thank you for giving us just two fantastic board members. Our regional economic impact, we updated this in 2023, and a lot of data on this slide. What I like to focus on is the economic impact of 737-800. The most common airplane that we have landing at our airport, worth about $130,000 every time it lands, just based on what those 178 people spend their money on as they arrive in our region. More and more travelers coming to our region through the airport. 52% last time we looked, as more and more people are just, it's the quickest and easiest way to get around, of course. And so we try and keep the airport open and operating as much as we possibly can to facilitate that. It's been a really strong run post-COVID. My slides here started at 2024 on the bar chart. Before that, we came out in 2021, one of the fastest recovering airports in America because of traveler and tourism, and we've seen it steadily grow since then. We're approaching 5 million total passengers on an annual basis, and that is from this catchment area. 1 million people call RNO their airport home. They come from all over, as you can see there. The green icons indicate where we see significant investment happening in the catchment area, whether it's east of us, north of us, down at Carson, Minden, Gardnerville. A lot of investment happening in the region, and we know that typically means people flying, whether it's for business or travel or tourism. They're going to come through the airport. A lot of them drive to the airport. You're probably familiar with our parking challenges, and that's because most of these customers have no option but to drive to the airport and park. And so we think about that a lot when we think about the projects that we're doing at the airport and the way we're developing our property. You're familiar with Reno Tahoe International Airport. Certainly, this slide kind of highlights the airfield. That's the most important physical asset that we have to keep aircraft operating 24/7, 365. That's kind of the aquamarine color. The dark blue is our developable land, which continues to densify with increased investment, and really is exciting to see money flowing into our community and landing at the airport, whether it's an aviation-related business as well as non-aeronautical activity that we have occurring at both airports. The most recent development to open at RNO is south of the airport there, in what's called the Airway Commerce Center, developed by the Tolles Development Company, almost 1 million square feet of offices, showrooms, distribution warehouses, light manufacturing space. Tolles did a great job developing a really difficult piece of land to develop right off the end of the runway. Extremely strict rules about what can be developed there, but and another a positive addition to our community, and really happy to partner with Tolles. Up at the Stead Airport, also some exciting things happening up there. You've probably seen on the west side of the airport the public-private partnership with Dermody Properties, developing a logistics center up there in what's called the Reno Air Logistics Park. And also last fall announced the world's first lithium sulfur battery gigafactory on the east side of the Stead Airport. Ultimately, $1 billion investment for Nevada in a partnership between Lighten Batteries and Dermody Properties on airport land, creating at a minimum starting of 200 plus jobs. A long ways to go on this. That was an announcement. We don't have a land deal in place yet. We are working with Lighten and Dermody Properties on an actual 125-acre land deal that would facilitate this. It's complicated, as you might imagine, for a lot of reasons, but we are excited that they have picked us, and now we just have to figure out how to work all those details out. Let's see. There we go. Air service. You've probably seen the route map before in my previous presentations. What's different now from when I was here before is some of the yellow lines, which are seasonal routes that come and go, typically in the summertime, sometimes in the ski season. The blue routes are year-round service, typically every day. So Chicago O'Hare is now year-round on United. Really excited to finally get that one moved to year-round. And Atlanta came back last summer, which we've been working very hard to get Delta back to Atlanta, just a really important hub airport to connect to. That flight is every day. Austin is now year-round, which is exciting, one of those really hot growing markets in the country. And of course, you know, all the other West Coast and Pacific Northwest routes that are really important to the people that live here, travel, tourism, a tremendous amount of business into California. And Guadalajara is still a daily route, which does fantastic on Volaris. What we're working on is first, always hang on to what you have. It's a competitive game out there. Every airport, every community wants more air service than they have. And there are a limited number of airlines and increasing difficulties getting airplanes, if you're tracking the Boeing challenges at all. All of those things matter as we compete with other cities for air service. The ones in orange there are the ones we're really targeting as the destinations that we really feel like we are getting close to. Nashville has been a very active conversation with Southwest Airlines. We're getting close to that. Washington, D.C., of course, a lot of traffic to and from there. And Florida is always a popular market. With the lithium battery belt, as they call it, you see a lot of these dots in the southeast to connect us to the rest of that battery belt. And of course, we want to hang on to really important locations like Houston, Austin, San Diego. San Diego now served by both Southwest and Alaska Airlines, and one of our strongest markets. So always have a list of things we'd like to have, and we know we have to compete with every other airport in America to try and get another airplane to land here, and we are working on that as a community all the time. We require a lot of partnerships on air service, and we appreciate those partnerships. You've seen a lot of construction going on at the airport. Those were the easy projects. We're now getting into the more challenging projects, and you've seen this slide before. What we've gotten done so far is the ticketing hall expansion. Hopefully you've seen that and you like what you see. It really pushed out the front of the building, made it more accessible. It's just easier to get through there with your suitcases or your skis, whatever else you might be carrying with you, and we get a lot of that here. The road improvements, that is also completed right in front of the ticketing hall, just widening the road, making it safer, replacing some infrastructure. We are now moving into the Ground Transportation Center on the left of the screen there, and so I'll click forward. Those two I talked about, those are the ones that are done. The Ground Transportation Center is basically the new rental car center, and this community desperately needs that. We are grossly undersized for rental car centers for an airport our size, for a community that we're serving this large. We are underway with that project now. That's a public-private partnership. The Airport Authority is not actually doing that. We are in business with a developer who's going to build a pretty large garage structure and a place where you will go get your Uber, Lyft, your rental car. Any shuttle system that you're using will all come through one location. We are doing the enabling projects now, so a new building just went up past the rental cars there. That's a replacement building, and we'll be tearing down 3 buildings, really to create the site that we will get to work on later in 2025 for that rental car center. Should be opening in 2028. They're off to a fast start. Hopefully they'll do it even better than that. We are moving out of the terminal building ourselves because we're occupying space that could be occupied by airlines or TSA or others. We've been there since the 1960s, so we are moving ourselves out. We're creating our first ever police station as well. That'll be the first floor of a new building just to the south of the existing terminal building. That's the best way to expand a terminal these days, is to get out of it if you don't have to be in it and create room for those that do need to be in it. The biggest project are 2 new concourses. You've heard me talk about this before. It's 100% gate replacement. So the 2 concourses that we have today, all 22 gates, opened in 1980. Everybody who lives here has probably flown through those concourses at some point. They are at the end of their useful life, and they are really undersized for the class of aircraft that we are seeing come through Reno now. And so this is a challenging project to replace both concourses. We will build 2 new concourses immediately outboard of each of those concourses. They will be largely built at the same time, about a 6 to 9 month lag to accommodate the trades, so that when the steel workers come on the airport, they build the first concourse and then they move north and they build the second concourse. We will build them both in about 36 months. We will start 12 months from now. Before then, we will start with a ramp expansion because we'll need more room for aircraft and also a central utility plant that will power all of this. This is a challenging list of projects for an organization our size. Never undertaken this much before. $650 million is the current budget on both concourses. I'll tell you, it's a struggle to hang on to a number right now. The escalation in construction costs and the cost of craft labor is just skyrocketing, especially here, because you all hear about everything that wants to be built. And so we're competing with everybody else for a limited number of subcontractors. We're hoping we can hold on to that $650 million budget. The airlines have approved that. We can't do this without airline approval. And they are in partnership with us, and they're willing to make an investment like that because of the growth they see here in Northern Nevada in that large catchment area that I talked about. All in, just over $1 billion. A lot of that is borrowed money. We are taking on debt for the first time. Last August, we issued our first debt for the program, $240 million. We're also competing with a lot of other airports for a lot of federal funding. Which is, we're well positioned for federal funding, but like everything else, it is a competitive game to get money from the federal government. We rely on a lot of partnerships to do what we do. We do very little alone. It's all in partnership with regional partners, you all the cities, the counties that we represent, the other agencies, whether it's travel and tourism or economic development. We are really excited at all of the relationships we have and everybody working to benefit Northern Nevada, grow what we're trying to do, and also create great infrastructure so that everybody here enjoys flying, enjoys visiting, or has successful businesses on our 2 airports. We're busy besides the things I've talked about. There's always a lot going on at both airports, whether it's music or flight celebrations, our art program. Thank you. You have a representative on our art committee. Burning Man is our busiest time of the year and our biggest day of the year. And I believe our history was last September and the exodus of Burning Man was happening. We had I think about 20,000 people that day. And so for an airport that size, it's putting a lot of pressure on the infrastructure, honor flights, and other nonprofit activities that we do. So really excited for the future. We think we're on our way to a really strong 2025. And of course, that gets more challenging the more construction we take on. But we are really confident that we're heading the right direction. And we'll, in a few more years, and I ask for everybody's patience, it will get more difficult to get through the airport as we work through all of this, and then it will be fantastic. Hopefully by 2029, we are largely complete with this program. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank you for Trustee Sperber, who didn't know I was going to put this slide up there, but the next time I am before you, he will be off of the board. He will term out June 30th with a $1 billion capital program. I can't tell you how critical his subject matter expertise has been to our success. Board members add incredible value to what we do, and Mr. Sperber has been absolutely fantastic. So thank you for giving us him for almost 8 years. Thank you, Mayor.
Any questions from the council? That must have been a picture from a long time ago. Art's got a lot more gray hair since then. Go ahead, Ms. Bybee.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin, for being here today. Appreciate your update. Obviously, we're following it closely. Are very proud of our strong members on your board, both Art and Sean Carey, in all the years they've served on your board. Obviously, my background expertise is aviation for 42 years, so knowing as a flight attendant coming in and out of airports around the country and around the world, really excited to see the expansion that's so greatly needed here in Reno and the work you're doing in a very first-class manner. And like you said, it'll be painful for a while, but it'll be so worth it at the end. And especially your numbers are very impressive of where the number of flights we're getting, but really the number of people we bring through. And a shout out that I have always made to your TSA. I think flying everywhere I flew, I think they were the most efficient. I thought they were the most customer service oriented. And when you come in and out of Reno, you know they're doing their job and paying attention, and they do it in a really polite manner that helps with tourism or with locals alike. So shout out to them too, and to you for the job you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Karen, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. All right, 7.3, Sparks Fire Department presentation of the Medal of Merit, the fire apparatus operator Patrick Coyle, Azir Newham, and David Rathburn. Actually, give it to him.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council, City Manager Lothan, Walt White, Fire Chief, City of Sparks, and it is my honor and privilege to present to you 3 members of our department who will be receiving the Medal of Merit today. Fire apparatus operators Patrick Coyle, Yazir Nam, and David Rathburn for their actions on April 13th, 2024. On April 13th, at approximately 5:30 p.m., while en route to a fire conference in Indianapolis, Indiana, fire apparatus operators Coyle, Nam, and Rathburn were of the first on scene of a vehicle accident rollover just outside of Rock Springs, Wyoming. Without hesitation and knowingly putting themselves in harm's way on a busy interstate, they pulled over to see what they could do to assist. They found a single female pinned beneath her vehicle and the asphalt. Using a floor jack, they were able to lift the vehicle enough to pull the victim out. Once extricated and with no other EMS personnel on scene, the 3, who were all licensed paramedics, were able to provide critical emergency care until the ambulance arrived to take over patient care and transport. They also assisted the Wyoming Highway Patrol with traffic and coordination of incoming fire and EMS resources. Their actions, the actions of these 3 had a direct impact on the survival of the victim. As a result of their actions, these 3 were written up by Battalion Chief Tyler Gayton with a recommendation of a Medal of Merit for each. The Sparks Fire Department Commendation Review Committee evaluated their nominations, which conferred that the Medal of Merit was warranted. The Medal of Merit is the second highest award that can be given within the Sparks Fire Department. As I call them up, Chief Gayton will present them with their medal as well as their certificate expressing our appreciation for their service. So if I could have Patrick Coyle, Yazir Nam, and David Rathborn come up to the front.
Chief, could you stand over there so they can take pictures for us, please? Thank you.
My bad. Actually, hoping to be in the picture. Oh. Yes. Thank you. My bad. My bad again.
Coming up here. Back here.
Oh, sorry. Make it.
Well, you guys can be in front of Wes.
Yeah, you'll still see. You'll still see.
Yeah, here, you and I can go down.
You guys need to. Julie, do you need a man? Yeah, I might have.
Water bottle. All right. Now we're going to move on to the reason why the chambers are full. The presentation of the Hometown Christmas Parade winners. This is probably the funnest event for us. And quite frankly, how did you guys like the theme this year, the Cowboy Christmas?
Yeah.
All us old Nevada guys like to get our cowboy hats out every once in a while.
Yes. Okay, good afternoon, Mayor Lawson and council members. I'm Raquel Montserrat, your special events supervisor in the Parks and Recreation Department, here to present to you the 2024 Christmas Parade winners. The winner for Best Business Group in 2024 is Thompson Garage Doors. Best Animal Group
So what we're going to do is we're going to announce everybody, and then we're going to have each individual group come up and take a picture with the city council.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Best Animal Group was Washoe County 4-H Youth Development Clubs. Best Community Group was the City of Sparks Public Works Team. Best Performing Group was MVP Performing Arts. And best overall was Whitewater, Spanish Springs Construction, and Dreammaker Bath and Kitchen. I would also like to acknowledge our volunteer groups, Living Stones Church for helping with setup and serving hot chocolate, the Boys and Girls Club of Truckee Meadows for taking Santa photos, and Hot August Nights for staging the parade. I'd also like to give a big thank you to our 2024 parade sponsor, Nugget Casino Resort, Link Management for the donation of the warehouse space to build the floats, and Old West Hat Co. and Tractor Supply Co. for their donation of Western materials. In addition, I'd like to thank Emily Pate, Colleen Moran, Jackie Martinez, Stephanie DRC, Whitney Milligan, and Julie Dool for being a huge help on parade day. And finally, a huge thank you to Charlie Burns and the Sparks Public Works team for building the Sparks City Council float. Thank you. And the groups would like to come up and get your award and have your photo taken with council.
Another picture.
Crisscross. Everybody. We gotta have a little fun right now, you know? I didn't show anyone the dance moves. That's.
Well, here, you get to come to the center. You get to come over
This
there.
only worth $1,000.
Turn it around so they can see.
All right, anybody else in your group, or are you good?
Yeah.
Quality or quantity?
He's in the up and down business.
Sorry.
I figured I have no stress.
Okay.
I'll leave it to you.
Get Donald to.
Thank you, guys.
Get a little fun here.
Always there, every year. Every year.
17 years.
I know, they do. They win some real good. They're in for your years. Just awesome.
Yeah, they have all the kids.
Yeah, they do a really good job.
Hello.
I love it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Stop. All right. Right at her.
High five on the way out.
Look for you next year.
Next year. Defending champions. Yeah. You're right. Hello. Perfect.
You guys always have amazing 4-H's every year.
Good job. Good job. Guys, we'll see you next year.
Drum roll, please. The infamous Public Works teams coming up.
Awesome. Good job.
Our favorite, you guys are over the top this year. You guys are
Do a run over here, Charlie.
You got the tall guys in the middle.
Yeah. What did you do with all that purpose? A little bit closer to Charlie. How are you? How's it going? Good.
Thank you.
I don't know. You're gonna have to outdo yourself now.
Awesome.
It all depends what the theme is next year. I will. Awesome.
Put in some suggestions.
Great job.
Uh-oh. Oh, are we going to manage?
Do we want to just, we can stand. Put us in the air. I know, we could stand here and they stand right in front of us. We'll just move here.
We are here for this.
Yeah, we're going to have to be creative. Yep.
Where's the band?
Just the band.
I'm with the band. Where's the band? We're dream makers. We're the right band.
Congratulations.
Made it look real. I don't want the mayor to be blocked. I'm sure this is gonna.
Can I put you in the
Yeah. I was gonna go.
Yeah, sorry, that's just. And then everybody just needs a sprint in. There we go. There we go.
All
right. Wes, can you go that way for me?
Slide to the right.
Councilman Ann Ryan, can you go that way?
Slide to the right more.
Well, can I put you on the edge? Yes. Councilman Abbott, that looks good.
Slide to the middle.
And that looks good.
Yeah, Charlene.
Charlene, I can see her little head.
Do you want me here? Here, if I go here.
Yeah, that's better.
All the height. Here we go. I can see right through there.
I don't know where Julie is. Oh, she's right there.
I'm just trying to get this out of the way. There we go.
All right, no one Blake. We got one shot here.
Let's try this.
Wide angle
They
lens.
need a wide angle lens.
Yes, you could do panorama.
Okay, that's a little better. Councilman Bedwell, you can come in just a little bit. On the end there, you stay there. There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
Good job, team. Congrats.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll see you around Loving
Okay. All right, move on to item 7.5, Black History Month. Is there anyone here to accept that today? I know Diane went to the MLK dinner and delivered it, but we're going to go ahead and read it into the record.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I did deliver this to the MLK dinner on Monday and presented it. So whereas this month, we pay homage to the rich history and contributions of Black Americans who have shaped our city in countless ways through centuries of struggle and triumph. And whereas Black History Month was first proposed by scholar Carter G. Woodson in 1926 and lifts the Black experience in a fuller telling of America's story. And whereas this year's theme, African Americans in Labor, highlights the significant role Black Americans have played in shaping the labor movement, advocating for workers' rights, and building the foundation of our economy. And whereas from the early days of slavery to modern-day activism, African American workers have fought for fair wages, better working conditions, and equality in the workforce, leaving a lasting impact on our nation's labor policies and economic landscape. And whereas African American labor leaders, activists, and everyday workers have shown extraordinary resilience and leadership in the face of adversity, working to create opportunities for themselves and future generations. And whereas this month, we honor the contributions of Black Americans to the labor force and reflect on the ongoing struggle for justice and equity in the workplace. And whereas during Black History Month, let us draw inspiration from this legacy as we continue together on the path toward equality, liberty, and opportunity for all. And whereas our shared history shows us that we rise and fall together, an enduring lesson reflected in the words of Dr. Maya Angelou. The truth is, no one of us can be free until everybody is free. Now, therefore, I, Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, Nevada, do hereby proclaim February 2025 as Black History Month.
Okay, we have 7.6, Homeless Services Essential Workers. Grant Denton et al., are you coming down for this?
Karma Box, VOA, and Rice.
Come on, Karma Box, VOA, and Rise. We could have two of you at the dais and the rest on that row right there, please.
What's up?
I didn't know it was everybody in the audience. Wow.
And this is just a small portion of the squad.
Well, these are some motivated individuals here.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. All right.
Are you ready?
Charlene's going to read your proclamation. Thank you, Donald.
Okay. Whereas the well-being of every member of our community is a shared responsibility, and the City of Sparks is proud to support services that help individuals experiencing homelessness find care, support, and stability. And whereas workers on the front lines of homeless services, case managers, outreach workers, shelter staff, social workers, and others work every day to meet urgent and complex needs with skill and compassion. And whereas these workers provide practical support and foster hope and dignity for people in vulnerable situations, ensuring access to resources that help them rebuild their lives. And whereas the efforts of homeless services workers are often overlooked, though their hard work and dedication, they play a critical role in helping individuals and strengthening our community. Whereas these workers face many challenges, including long hours, high stress, and limited resources, yet they continue to go above and beyond to ensure people receive the help they need. Therefore, on behalf of Mayor Ed Lawson, Mayor of the City of Sparks, we hereby proclaim January 27th as Homeless Services Workers Day here in the City of Sparks, and recognize and honor the dedication of homeless service workers and thank them for their vital contributions.
Grant, we'll start with you. Give us your name, please, and
Grant Denton for the record. It's important, like we wrote this proclamation, this is Travis and Ben and I wrote this proclamation because these guys are some of the hardest working folks in the city. They get overlooked a lot. And I'm not saying like it's intentional, but these guys are in the trenches every day. These are the folks doing the CPR while we're waiting for the ambulance to arrive. These are the folks that are de-escalating a situation while we're waiting for the police to arrive. These are the folks that are talking people through some of the most difficult times in their life. This isn't just sheltering that we operate. This isn't just outreach. We're in the people growing business. Right? And I want you to think about how difficult it is when we're in a condition of change, right? Who's ever tried to take a diet? Who's ever been on a diet? You ever had a diet? How'd you do? Most folks not too well, right? And that's just broccoli. And we're dealing with humans here that have to work with folks in a condition of change. It's a very hard job. And I think it's about time that these folks get applauded. And some of us are a check or two away from being a client ourselves. And we still show up and we still grind every day. And this isn't a job that you get to leave at home, right? If you want to be good at this job, you have to create meaningful relationships with people so that they trust you, so that you build rapport. So all these folks are in there building meaningful relationships with folks, sometimes at the worst point of their life. And they don't just get to leave it at work. Some of us take it home with us. And we have to find ways to take care of each other, to support each other. And one way to do that is when we identify, and other folks can identify, that we do carry value. We're needed. This is some of the most needed folks in this community right now, for sure. And if there was merit awards, I'd give everybody a merit award here, because these are the people working with the people. These are the pre-responders. We're there before other folks show up. Thank you. Travis?
Yeah, Travis from VOA. I started volunteering with these guys back in 2018 when I first moved to Reno in the mailroom, and I was so blown away by how they treat other individuals in this community. I now work alongside them. You guys are some of the most amazing people, and we want to make sure that you come forward and that others acknowledge that. So thank you to this council for acknowledging the hard work that they do and helping people on their journey like Grant was describing. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
we have someone from Rise too. Yeah, come on. Give us your name for the record.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Drury, program manager with Rise.
Hi, I'm Willis Dixon, for the record, director of Our Place for Rise.
So I wanted to speak representing not just Rise, but the Crossroads Supported Living community. And it's really important to me that I speak not just as an individual, but as an extension of the community. I think everyone here would agree that we're not here alone. We're only as good as our next partner, our next community member, and that extends beyond just RISE, beyond Our Place, beyond VOA, beyond our CARES campus, beyond Karma Box. It's everyone in the Reno Sparks community. Like, we have to be building this system of solidarity and mutual aid beyond just our doors. It's what we say to our members every single day. It's what we say to one another as staff. And my hope through acts like this, and as much of it as it is an honor to be here, it's even more an honor to be standing in solidarity with folks like this. So for those that couldn't say it, I wanted to make sure that we were here to really nail into that this is all about our own sense of collective resilience, collective responsibility, and solidarity with one another. This work's able to get done. And I appreciate y'all for being a part of that.
Thank you.
So first of all, I just want to say, it's more than just working with people, right? Like, because anybody can work a job, but it's, we work with a population that comes in all shapes and forms. And we need to understand that, in order to serve a person, we need a broad community. What is better to support a community than to support from a community? We analyze and understand that everything that we do is from the heart. And as, Grant has described, as Jimmy had described, it takes a special individual to work with the population that we work with, and to not take it home is very difficult. And to understand that, people are not bad. Sometimes we're making poor decisions. And sometimes when we have the right guidance, being somebody that has come from the other side to this side, I take a lot of pride in helping someone that is in need. And, and what we offer here between the variety of opportunity that is just brought in our community, I think it's worth more than money could ever describe. Just watching the fact of somebody going from simply holding a set of keys in their hands to somebody believing in themselves once again, for the simple fact of developing color back into their own skin tone, just speaks volume. And, and as I sit up here, I could not do it without the people that stand behind me. From our outreach, from our programs, from our shelters, from, down at the river, just simply reminding somebody that they are not invisible is just what it's all about. And that's all I have.
Thank you. So you're going to go take pictures?
Okay, did you have any?
Yep. We have a certificate for RISE VOA and for Karma Box. So Charlene is going to take pictures with you. We're asking you to go out in the lobby since there's so many of you. But I want to say thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Come back there.
All right, brother. I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah. Keep it up.
That's one of the Okay. That cleared out the room. I didn't realize that was that many.
You're a nice lady.
All right. We'll wait for Charlene for a moment. Oh, I said I'd get the B on. No, I said I still got to get to you. 7:07.
Oh, you ready to go?
We'll wait for Charlene for a minute. I guess, you know what, we could go ahead with 7:07, Dion, if you want. Go ahead. Yep.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. There is one vacancy on the Sparks Citizens Advisory Committee serving coterminously with the appointing elected official. This vacancy is for Ward 5. Members must be Sparks residents, and we will accept applications until Friday, February 14th at 5 p.m. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Now we're going to hold for a moment. So let's take a 5-minute recess and we'll wait for Ms. Bybee to come back. All right, let's call to order back the Sparks City Council meeting.
We don't have a
Well, we're going to need one from the audience.
It's like asking for a doctor on airplane.
Yeah. Do we have any attorneys in the audience?
Sounds, anybody from the attorney's office?
No, I know he stepped out for a minute.
Or anybody from the
I said
his
5
office?
minutes. 5 minutes is 5 minutes.
Yeah, because I thought he stepped out.
The lawyer recess.
You're on. Get up here. I'm not a lawyer, but I stayed at the Holiday Inn, all right? Close enough.
Okay. Nobody else from his office is here, huh?
Well, let's try and get through consent items without a lawyer. Anyone wishing to pull a consent item? If not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell,
Move to approve agenda items 8.1 through 8.7 as submitted.
Ms. Bybee,
I'll second that motion.
got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, please vote. And motion carries unanimously. All right. General business. 9.1. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a resolution number 3454 supporting the use of funds from the state of Nevada account for affordable housing for a 142-unit affordable housing development identified as the Afton Senior Housing. You ready?
afternoon. Yep.
First time?
Not
This is your
quite.
second, third time, huh?
Somewhere along there.
You're an old pro.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council. I'm Casey Chavla, an Administrative Analyst with your Community Services Department. Today, I'm kicking off our general business items with a resolution for the Afton Affordable Senior Housing Project and the potential use of funds from the state of Nevada account for affordable housing. In February of 2024, the Sparks Planning Commission approved a request for a conditional use permit to construct a hotel and a 142-unit multifamily project at the site identified above. As you may remember, this site was originally a single parcel and has since been subdivided into two. The approved hotel will be located at the southwest portion at 432 Marina Gateway, and the remainder of the site, the 1275 East Prater, has been identified to be the location of the multifamily project. To give you an idea as to how the entire site will be configured, this is the approved landscape plan that was included in that CUP. And throughout the CUP process, the applicant, the Call to Action Foundation, indicated that the multifamily project was to be used to provide affordable senior housing. Following the approval of the project, the Call to Action Foundation contacted the Nevada Housing Division to inquire on potential funding opportunities, at which point the NHD had identified funds from their account or their state of Nevada account for affordable housing as a potential opportunity for this development. This brings us into our resolution. If approved, this resolution would indicate the council's support for the project to use the state of Nevada account for affordable housing funds, which would ultimately result in a property tax exemption for the multifamily project. Additionally, this resolution suggests the project be subject to a deed restriction to ensure that 100% of the housing units be reserved for senior households earning no more than 80% of the area median income for a minimum of 30 years. The Nevada Housing Division has requested that the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners considers an item similar to this, which is anticipated to occur in February. In conclusion, staff is recommending approval of the resolution supporting the use of funds from the state of Nevada account for affordable housing to support the development of the Afton Senior Housing Project. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. We also have Drew and Josh from the Call to Action Foundation here to answer questions as well.
Okay. Question from the council, Mr. Anderson.
No questions. I just want to say, Casey, thank you and the team for working on this. I truly appreciate it. It's so desperately needed in our community to have low-income housing projects like this, especially for elderly veterans and such. And I appreciate Call to Action and the desire to move this forward. And I appreciate the City of Sparks working with them to make it happen. It's awesome.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you. I want to echo Councilman Paul Anderson's comments, and I also have a question. It may be for call to action. If you don't get approved, yeah, go ahead and come up.
Just give us your name for the record, please.
Drew Magalette, Director of Housing for the Call to Action Foundation.
And Josh Soph, the Director of Development at our Call to Action Foundation.
Thank you. If you guys are not awarded funds from Nevada, what's your plan going forward?
Well, I think it makes it much more difficult to achieve lower levels of affordability in the project. And also, I think the other thing that I think is an advantage of this resolution is that it also kind of solidifies the deed restrictions. So it makes sure that the city of Sparks is guaranteeing that this will actually be below 80% AMI for a long time to come, whereas there would be no such, not that we'd ever want to do that, but this solidifies that if it makes it official, basically. And in addition to also providing funds that we can also use to contribute to greater levels of affordability as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? I got a couple for you guys. Who's going to own and manage the property?
We will.
So call to action?
Yes, call to action.
Will
Yes.
manage and own.
So sorry, I guess to clarification, we'll be working with a property management company based in Salt Lake called Evergreen to do the property management, but we will own and be responsible for the property.
Yeah, so Evergreen Property Management out of Salt Lake City manages over 5,000 affordable units currently in Utah, and manages our other partnership affordable housing that we have that we built in Salt Lake.
Do they have any in Nevada?
They currently do not. They're in the process of getting licensed and operating over here in Reno.
Yeah. But if for some reason they weren't to be licensed or anything like that, we would seek out another local operator.
Okay. And of the 142 units, we said 80% AMI. Is there going to be any lower AMI within that project?
Yes.
Can
We
you
will
give
have
me
at
some
least
examples?
40% of the units at 60% of area median income.
40%?
Yeah.
And then the rest will be 80?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And the affordable period you're committed to is the 30 years?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct.
And do you have any idea what the rents will be? Just out of curiosity. I know it's kind of early to tell.
No, I know.
I would say that they're published every year by the Housing and Urban Development, and it's by county. So we have an underwriting, which we're happy to share, but they're 1 and 2 bedroom apartments. Think of the 80% is still $200 or so below the market rate 2 bedroom that's in that greater area right there. So that's what we've underwritten everything to.
I'm happy to pull it up from the
just
HUD
curious if you
website.
had off the top of your head.
But I don't want to,
Yeah, I'd say it varies 1,100 or 1,100. That's the same number. For the record, 1,100 and 1,100 are the same. I do have a couple master's degrees, so I didn't learn much in school.
1,100 actually works for me. I went to Colorado State, so.
Yeah, and then up to about, I think it's 1,700 for the 2 bedroom that are at 18 or at 80% AMI.
And then you're going to open all 142 units at the same time?
We are currently working on a phasing plan, seeing if we can open the 3rd building and the clubhouse first, followed by the 2nd building and the 1st building.
What would that phasing plan look like?
Well, we're working with our general
phase
contractor right
one
now.
and then 10 years later?
No, same time, same time. So 18-month construction period. The start date was actually January 15th. It would just be we could open the southeast building probably 6 months prior to the other buildings, possibly. We're working with our GC to navigate.
Have you talked with our staff about that yet?
I've sent an email to your staff. I will have further discussion about that.
All right. Short answer is not quite yet.
No, we're waiting for the Gantt chart that's being produced to show the turnover schedule from our general contractor.
Perfect. Yes, Ms. Bybee.
Following up on that, you also have the Holiday Inn Express Hotel. What is the timeline on that? Is that totally separate and they're on their own timeline, but it's just, it's a parcel next door that.
Yeah, it will be quicker.
It'll be quicker on that.
We will share just easements for access and utilities, but different management, different ownership.
Yeah.
Related entities.
Right.
But we are the nonprofit foundation, so
we
can't do anything with the hotel.
Right.
So, but your contract with that, why am I remembering that by having the hotel there helps the ability of you to remain for the nonprofit?
Well, because
it's,
Yes,
it's,
because-
aren't they
So sorry, so yes. so-
connected?
So the hotel, the company that owned the land that the hotel was on, or sorry, I guess the same company. I don't know why I'm saying a different company, but basically it allows, or apparently I'm not.
So they donated the parcel to us. And so we couldn't purchase the property from ourselves as the foundation.
Donated which part?
They donated the Afton parcel.
Okay.
The hotel.
And then ate the cost of all of the remaining parcel into the Holiday Inn Express underwriting, if that makes sense.
Thank you. Any other questions from the council? Okay. All right. Well, that's all I have. Casey, you have anything else? Casey, you did a great job. Thank you. You're an old pro at this now.
She's been great at communicating. I will give a shout out to her.
No doubt.
We're pretty proud of her. She's doing a great job for us. Okay, well, with that then, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Rundle. Yes, please, come on up. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Mayor. Sorry for the inconvenient timing. I believe in the resolution, Mayor, it says for the resolution to go for all 142 units to be affordable. Based on some of the discussion, is the council expecting that those would all be open at the same time? Or are you
We're
providing?
expecting that today, but what we just understood is they're going to come to you with a phasing program.
I'm asking for direction from the council on what you'd like to see, if that is okay.
Can we address that, Mr. City Attorney?
The resolution, Mr. Duncan does identify the 142 units in it. Currently, the entitlement does not identify a phasing plan in the entitlement, and that's my concern with the request that was put on the table.
Take 5 minutes? Yeah. Give us 5 minutes, please.
3:17. 5 minutes.
So I wonder
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So I think looking at the resolution, I think it's fine to go forward as is. The phasing issue, they're still supporting the 142 units, so the phasing issue should just be something that they work through with staff, and they can go to them and work that issue. So I'm comfortable with the resolution as it states today.
All right. Come on up.
So once again, Josh Soph, Call to Action Foundation for the record. To clarify, it will all be built within the same 18-month schedule. We're just hoping to turn over the buildings early if they're completed early. So when I said phasing, that was probably wrong, that it would be one building open operating, then you do a second phase and a third
What you're
phase.
saying is you want a C of O on the
A
first.
C of O on the first building with the clubhouse,
C of O
and then
on
a C of O on the second building. Then as the third building, that's the bigger one, or building number one, might take longer. Just an early opening rather than a,
So
Waiting until everything's done.
yeah.
did you understand that, Wes?
So basically build all 142 at the same time. We might have 36 in one building that are done earlier. We'll open and get C of O and start pre-leasing that, then move over to the next building as
So the
it's
C of O
placed in
just
service.
allows you to start renting. Now, let me ask you a question from just an old football player. What if you don't build the other ones?
Oh, no.
How does that affect?
Yeah, they're all, actually, it's under construction right now. All of them are built at the same time.
Okay.
So they'll all be, all the framing, everything will be done at the same time. It's really coming down to our finish work. It's going to be a lot easier to turn over the smaller units in one of the smaller buildings than the big building that's, yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I have Mr. Rundle come up? I have just a clarifying question. Since now this has come and they're saying they want to go C of O on the first building, C of O on the second building, and possibly the third one. Do they need a different permit for each one, or is it going to fall under one permit?
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember Vanderwell, Jim Rundle, Assistant Community Services Director. The issue could be is the entitlement and building permit did not identify for the phasing. And so it could be difficult to ensure the conditions of the conditional use permit have been met, landscaping has been met without bonding and those kind of components. Typically, 3 buildings under one permit would all be issued because they are not individually parcelized, would be issued one C of O, not 3. So there would be, with the sentiment of the council today and legal counsel's perspective, the applicant will need to work with staff to identify the best mechanism to approach this. And here on the dais today, I don't know how that would work.
So probably what, 3 permits?
So a clarifying, if they pulled one permit, we need to have complete so they can get a C of O. So in essence, phasing is not under the current permit because it was not pulled that way.
It wasn't pulled that way, and it wasn't identified that way with the conditional use permit.
Thank you.
Trying not to get ourselves in trouble or our new neighbors. That's where we are. So Wes, you want to weigh in on this at all, or what do you want? Or is there enough confusion that we should continue this?
I think it's your pleasure. I mean, the council can support the idea of 142 unit affordable housing, which is in the resolution. There's nothing in the resolution that says phasing or anything else. If it's something that you want to get more comfortable with, that they can chat with staff, I think that's appropriate as well. I just, in terms of what you're supporting today, is you're saying you're supporting affordable housing for 142 units. You're not being real particular about how that comes about or anything. I think we can say that you can support that and they need to go forward with staff to figure out the issues. Or if you'd like us to get more particular, certainly we can bring it back.
I guess my question is, it says 142 units. If you only open 50 and then you open 50 more, you get COFO for the 50. Does that mean the remaining already has a C of O? Because it's all in the same permit. You see what I'm saying, though? To me, there's some gray area here.
I do. I mean, what we could do is basically make a motion for planning and for the city manager to work out these details to bring a resolution in the future. That would work too. It's really the council's pleasure. I mean, you're standing for the proposition that you support the overall project.
Which we absolutely support.
So can I speak again? Wes, thank you. We're going to try and make this simpler for you. We're moving on the fly. So once again, Josh Soph, Call to Action Foundation. So we're in a unique situation where we have a great relationship with the debt lender and we aren't forced to really open in any phase. So we can just commit to do 142 units all opened at the same time. It'll just take a little while longer on the lease up and cash burn and interest. But it's well worth getting the property tax exemption to be able to support just a single opening. So if that's easier for you.
I guess that the question, will you all be able to operate under the same CUP and go forward?
We don't need to come back with anything else. It's the same resolution and away we go.
Okay.
No phasing, right? You're good with
Yeah, we'll be good. It's probably, I'm just thinking, in our calculation, probably a 3-month just interest carry. And then we'll just have to be really good on the lease up. So
Wes will loan you that money.
Wes will loan it to us. Fabulous. For the record, Wes Duncan will loan us that money.
Can we get that in the resolution, please?
All right.
Thank you.
Are we comfortable on the council? You understand? You understand? Okay. All right. Well, then, I got a motion by Mr. Anderson, a second by Mr. Abbott. Any further discussion?
I haven't read the motion.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead and read the motion. Sorry.
Move to approve resolution number 3454, supporting the use of funds from state of Nevada account for affordable housing for 142 affordable housing development identified as Afton Senior Housing.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, council.
All right, 9.2, consideration, discussion, and authorization for the city manager to establish a voluntary employee separation program in the amount not to exceed $2.2 million in the general fund and $1 million cumulative from all other funds. Mr. Cronk.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the council. I am Jeff Cronk, your Chief Financial Officer for the record. If you recall, last month at our priorities workshop that we held for council in December, finance staff revealed a sizable budget deficit that we're looking forward to in fiscal year 26 of about 18.1 million is the number that we presented at that time. Just to remind you that was a preliminary number. This isn't the final budget that we're kicking around, but that number will change, but it is expected to be a sizable budget deficit in fiscal 26. So with that as our framework, we believe that that size of a deficit will not be able to be eliminated without a reduction in force. So with that, I'm bringing for you today, seeking your approval for really two things. One, for the city manager to authorize the city manager to launch a voluntary employee separation program, and two, the funding for that program. As you had mentioned, it's the funding we're seeking is in a not to exceed amount. We don't know the final cost of this program, of course, until we know, the applications come in and we know the number of people who would be interested in what the city manager ultimately approves. But the not to exceed number is a total of $3.2 million, and that includes $2.2 million in the general fund and $1 million in all other funds cumulative. Again, we don't know exactly where those funds will be because we don't know which employees will be applying for it. So again, this is going to be a not to exceed number in those amounts. Not going to share all the details, but just the basics of it is that upon approval, after the meeting today, upon your approval, city manager will announce the details of the program. That will be available to all city employees. Essentially, the applications will need to be received by the city manager's office no later than March 13th. Approval of those applications or denial, however that works out, will be done by the city manager by March 21st. And upon approved, or the approved applicants will then receive a lump sum payment equivalent to 25% of their base pay. with the equivalent of their final pay period, if you will, would be April 6th, with their final paycheck being April 16th. Again, the goal of this program is to reduce that budget deficit, a large number, whatever that ends up being, but reduce the deficit and mitigate or eliminate future staff reductions depending on the success of this program. I'll keep my comments brief, so I'll finish it there, but I will be happy to entertain any questions you might have.
Questions from the council? Okay. This is stage one. So, all right.
Pause. Hiring.
Well, okay. All right. Thanks for correcting me. All right. Well, with that then, I am looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to authorize the city manager to establish a voluntary employee separation program in the amount not to exceed $3,200,000. Oops, sorry, it just moved. Including $2,200,000 from the general fund and $1 million cumulative from all other funds.
Ms. Bybee.
I'll second that motion.
We've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff. 9.3, consideration, discussion, possible action on the disposition of a building located at 306 10th Street in Sparks, Nevada. Ms. Jones.
Good afternoon, Mayor Lawson, members of council. My name is Amy Jones, housing specialist. At the April 8th, 2024 City Council meeting, council directed the city manager to explore potential options for the vacant building located at 306 10th Street. As requested by council, staff researched and analyzed the following options: moving the building, demolishing the building, or rehabilitating the building on site. Staff dedicated a substantial amount of time evaluating the above options and identified two paths forward for your consideration today. The 306 10th Street parcel is located on the corner of 10th Street and Avenue of the Oaks. It is just under an acre in size. The majority of the parcel is paved with asphalt, and it does have an existing vacant building at the southwest corner of the parcel that faces 10th Street. The parcel was acquired by the City of Sparks in March of 2024, utilizing the Home Means Nevada Initiative funding. According to the Nevada State Historic Preservation Office historic inventory form that was completed in August of 2005, the building was built sometime between 1912 and 1925, with the Washoe County Assessor's Office listing the construction date as 1913. It was initially used as a single-family residence, but may have been used for commercial purposes later. The building is 1,628 square feet and listed as 1 1/2 stories. There are 3 bedrooms and 1 bathroom, and there is also an unfinished basement of approximately 1,209 square feet, which also includes a 1-car garage. The building has not been evaluated for eligibility in the National Register of Historic Places, Nevada State Register of Historic Places, or the Sparks Register of Historic Places. However, it may be eligible. As you will recall, in 2022, the state of Nevada invested $500 million of American Rescue Plan funding toward the development of affordable housing and created the Home Means Nevada Initiative. The city applied for funding specifically under the category of land acquisition to purchase vacant land. Under this category, the land must be used for the future development of affordable housing, serving households earning 60% and below the area median income, and the property must remain affordable for 30 years. The next steps in the development of affordable housing on the 306 10th Street site is a release of a request for proposal. Staff evaluated the following options to be included in the RFP: demolition of the building, on-site rehabilitation, relocation of the building, or an open-ended development proposal. Staff analyzed each of these options, taking into consideration cost, timeliness, potential funding sources, historic resource considerations, and the Home Means Nevada initiative funding requirement that affordable housing be developed on the site. I would like to present two options for council's consideration today to move forward with the development of affordable housing on the 306 10th Street site. The first option is demolition.
Well, Amy, can
Yes.
we just take a timeout?
Sure.
We're having some
Sure.
technical difficulties. As I'm watching everybody's computer screen go off and off and off.
Sure.
Mine and Charlene's the only one that's still on.
Don't
open
jinx
the
us.
presentation.
Don't
That's what's
jinx
doing
us.
Yeah. It's
Oh, I've got
definitely
it.
the presentation.
Oh, mine's open.
Sorry,
Should
Dave.
I not
Don't
touch it?
click anything, Charlene.
Don't touch
Okay,
any of
I
that.
won't touch anything.
Who am I talking to?
Sorry.
It's okay.
You got this.
Thank you.
I'm afraid to do anything.
Don't touch it.
I won't. I've got the summary app.
Are we good?
Wait
All
and see
right.
it.
Amy, continue.
It's, yeah, mine's still hung up.
Dun, dun.
I didn't even touch anything.
I believe you did, sir.
I saw him open the presentation again.
One last try in number one paper.
Don't touch that. This is really hot. Table you're voting right now.
All right, touch it again real quick, just to
No.
make sure. Get onto your agenda. All right, we all up and going? Amy, sorry, once again,
And Mayor, you, should I continue with this slide?
start
or-
from that slide. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I would like to present two options for council's consideration today to move forward with the development of affordable housing on the 306 10th Street site. The first option is demolition of the vacant building. This option potentially allows for the most expedient timeline in the development of affordable housing, has the lowest cost in relation to the disposition of the building, and maximizes the land use for the future development of affordable housing. Under this option, the staff would advertise or release a request for proposal incorporating the demolition of the existing structure into the submission of the development for affordable housing. The second option would be to release an open-ended request for proposal that allows the developer to determine the disposition of the building and incorporate that into their submission of the development of affordable housing on the site. And that may include relocation, rehabilitation, or demolition of the existing building. This option is the most flexible option that allows developers to potentially incorporate a historical resource as part of the overall affordable housing development, or relocate a historical resource to a new site and maximize the land use for the development of affordable housing. In summary, the two options presented today include the most expedient and least costly option in relation to the development and disposition of in relation to the disposition of the building, allowing for the development of affordable housing on the site, and the most flexible option that allows for the development of affordable housing and the potential preservation of the building. With that, that concludes my presentation. I am happy to answer any questions.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Thank you, Amy, for this. Just a really quick question. If we choose the second one where demolition or however we're going to do that, because as we just saw in the city of Reno where they awarded their homeless center to a developer, and then the developer has come back and asked the city to pay for demolition, how will that work here?
So at this time, we would release the request for the proposal with it open-ended. So it would be incorporated into the RFP that's submitted. So if it is demolition, it would be incorporated into that, and it would be on the developer to potentially fulfill those costs. However, as we went through this process, we did take into consideration if there were funding sources available that could potentially help in that demolition. CDBG funds that is an allowable use because the demolition would support the overall development of affordable housing. There are, though, with that, we would have to make sure that there is steps as far as that we would need to go with that, depending on where we're at in our annual action plan and or new consolidated plan. But we would address that down the road, should that come up.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Mr. Anderson?
Amy, so we've been talking about this project for close to a year now, 10 months, I believe. So in that time, as we've been talking about that building and trying to come up with some ideas for it, have you been approached by anyone from the public saying, hey, I'd like to buy it, I'd like to move it, or anything like that?
We have not been approached specifically in that regard. There have been very general approaches as far as the affordable housing piece to it, wondering when we were going to move forward with that, but nothing specific to the building, and I would say really nothing specific concrete as far as, what somebody would want to do with the site as far as that.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Abbott?
Yeah, Amy. So if we went with the second one about the open-ended option, if we came back with four, say there's two options for demolition, one to move it somewhere else, one to maybe reuse it. So those four would come in front of us and we would be able to make a decision that day of which way we wanted to go, right?
So we would rank the proposals based on the scoring criteria set up. And so it is under staff's perspective that a proposal that has more affordable units would rank higher based on the Home Means Nevada initiative requirements. However, should council want the preservation of the building to be ranked higher, that could be incorporated in your motion today.
Else? I have a couple questions. If we leave the house there, how many affordable units does that take out for us in a range? Obviously, we don't know how many, but we have some ideas of what it would look like.
Yes. So it's about a 17% decrease in the number of units. So we looked at both structured parking and surface parking. So just in general, as we looked at those figures, it could be approximately 27 units lost in a structured parking design, 7 units lost if it was in a surface parking design. So those are estimates. It will all depend on what the design of the building is and how the developer goes about that, but that's an estimate.
And has there been any asbestos or lead paint remediation?
There has not. There was testing done, and it does have both lead-based paint and asbestos in. There would need to be mitigation done at the time of either demolition of the building, rehabilitation of the building, or should it be moved. So that would need to take place.
And then I know that we threw a number at what if we wanted to restore the building and bring it up to code, because I know it has knob and tube electric, which is 1915 stuff. Very dangerous. Good for the fire department. Not so good for the people who live there.
We put together some rough estimates. We estimate the rehabilitation of the building on site could range from $283,000 to potentially up to $368,000.
All right. Then with that, I am looking for, go ahead.
I know this is a tough one. I think I'm supporting I know we're going to be voting on it, but the advantages of an open RFP would be for someone who is interested in investing in that parcel and helping us build more affordable housing to really take a look at, does it pencil? And if so, and that could come back as much as in our hearts. I think a lot of us a hard time with demolition for a historic building like that. We're already seeing another historic building down the street about to come down. And so I think the sensitivity right now to that kind of heightens this parcel in this house. But an RFP would come through and maybe it'd only be demolition, or maybe someone has a use for it and they want to relocate, or could incorporate it. And I talked about wraparound services or something complementary to the affordable housing that might be housed there that we don't have in that vicinity, in that neighborhood. So I think there's lots of possibilities, and I like the flexibility of seeing who comes forward and what they might be able to do with it. So, and I appreciate all your work and the time you've spent to try to give us some choices today. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, well then, I am looking for a motion.
Yes.
Why did I get?
So I do have two potential motions. Here's the first motion, should it be the council's pleasure to move forward with an open-ended proposal. Correct. Or should you have your own motion that you would like to put forward?
So that's option 2. That's option 2.
And if it is a motion other than the 2, demolition or the open-ended, then Julie may need a moment to put that in for us.
Okay.
I'll take it. I just don't have a button. I'm afraid to touch anything.
Yeah.
Like,
Gun shy now.
He's got a motion there.
So I'm just looking for someone to make a motion.
I have the option. I can do it now.
Mr. Abbott.
Ooh, that's a nice accent. I move to release an open-ended request for proposal that allows developers to incorporate the disposition of the building into their submission, including but not limited to moving, rehabilitating, or demolishing the existing structure located at 306 10th Street.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I do, Mayor Lawson.
Yes.
I'll just throw it out for anyone that's interested as a developer. Please reach out to me. I got a few ideas, and I think Councilwoman Bybee threw a couple out. But let's put our heads together and try to come up with a good idea. And if there's none, then we'll figure that out from there. That's it.
I say, is the juice worth the squeeze to rehabilitate it? So 27 affordable units is a pretty big number. So with that then, if there's any further discussion? I don't know. Please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Amy. You staying with us?
No.
Consideration discussion. You seemed a little anxious to get out of there. Consideration discussion of possible approval of the First Amendment addendum, to the Washoe County P25 radio system interlocal agreement AC 5677 to address construction and material cost overruns in the amount of $3,963,706, with the City of Sparks share being $247,019 over fiscal year 26-27. Chief.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, member of councils. For the record, my name is Derek Keller. I am the operations chief for your fire department. And to start with this item, I'd like to go into a little bit of a background. The Washoe County Regional Communications System, or the WCRS, was established in 1999 to enable regional agencies to communicate using an 800 megahertz enhanced digital access communication system, or EDAX. Since late 2017, support and parts for the EDAX system has been unavailable, prompting discussions about an upgrade. The Nevada Department of Transportation, NDOT, formed a Nevada Shared Radio System group to source new radio systems on the P25 standard throughout the state. Although the City of Sparks is not part of the NRS, or the Nevada Shared Radio System, the Washoe County Board of Commissioners approved a contract in 2018 with Harris Communications to participate in the P25 system. In June 2020, the Sparks City Council approved the Washoe County P25 Radio System Interlocal Agreement, AC 5677, along with nearly 20 other regional agencies to share the cost of development and implementation of the new P25 infrastructure. The upgrade was expected to take around 5 years, during which time agencies have continued to use the EDAX system while integrating partial P25 applications. In the years since the executed contract between WCRCS and Harris Communications, construction costs for the P25 systems have increased by $3,963,706. By approving this first amendment to the Washoe County P25 interlocal agreement, the City of Sparks will commit our proportional share of that increase of $127,722 in fiscal year '26 and $119,297 in fiscal year '27. The P25 system will ensure that the City of Sparks first responders can effectively communicate with each other and with our regional partners during critical responses such as law enforcement, fire, EMS, and other necessary services. With construction of the Smoky Quartz site, the system will also provide more capacity and better radio coverage to the city, particularly in our Spanish Springs area. I am available to answer any questions. I also have Melissa Lonnie, the Regional Communications Coordinator, with me.
Okay, question from the council. Go ahead, Ms. Bybee.
So is its construction cost, is it just because overall construction cost and inflation are just killing all of us on every aspect of everything we do, from radios and construction to eggs to gasoline? I mean, is it just part of inflation? Because and then when, obviously, we'll probably have more moving forward, will there always be, and once it's all set, there won't be more construction needed? I mean, are we going to be seeing, or I guess my question, will we be seeing future cost overruns that we need to be responsible for?
So my name is Melissa Lonnie. I'm your Regional Communications Coordinator. The hope is that answer is no. We have contracted out with a construction manager at risk, a CMAR contract, so these costs should not exceed or change. That's the hope. However, as many of the agencies have seen, we spent about 18 months in deliberating this, and the longer we wait, costs do go up. So our hope is that this interlocal was approved last April. The hope is that we can start building this summer, assuming all the agencies sign the agreement this year. So this is just basically tying up those loose ends.
Okay, anyone else? Okay. Well, kind of stuck on this one, right? We've got to move forward. So I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Anderson.
I move to approve first addendum to the Washoe County P25 radio system interlocal agreement AC 5677 to address construction materials cost overruns in the amount of $3,963,706, with the City of Sparks share being $247,019 over FY26 and FY27.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, 9.5, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of amendments to the civil service regulations.
Sorry. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, City Council members. My name is Ariana Wichapa, Senior Human Resources Analyst for the record. Today I'm here in the last step of a really long process, the Civil Service Regulation amendments. The existing civil service regulations require updates. They have not been updated since 2009. Over the course of the last year and a half, staff in collaboration with the Civil Service Commission have been looking at the amendments for potential, at the regulations for potential amendment. Per Civil Service Regulation 2, Commission Organization, Section 4, amendments to the regulations may be made by the Commission but would have no effect unless approved by the City Council, which is why I'm here today. After a year and a half, at the January 8th Civil Service Commission meeting, the Commission recommended moving forward with all of the proposed amendments as previously posted and redlined. So why are the updates necessary? As I mentioned, they haven't been updated since 2009. Updating the regulations help us stay in compliance with federal, state, and local laws, rules, and regulations. The primary changes you will see to the regulations reflect language change and updates to actual processes. For instance, in the regulations, you'll see the mention of mail applications. We no longer use mail applications as technology has come a long way. The intent is also to update and reflect actual practices, to adjust to reflect, as mentioned already, legal requirements, and to make the document more readable for an average employee or person. Again, we have to comply with all regulations and laws such as the Sparks Charter, state NRS, federal regulations, and laws and regulations that come up and need to be updated regularly. Some examples of some changes that you'll see are clarification of language. In Regulation 1, the purpose and authority, here the main change is adopting federal language. Another example is clarification of process. Regulation 2, commission organization. The secretary has been removed as we really don't require support of a secretary as staff does a lot of that legwork. And in Regulation 4, examinations and eligibility lists, the grading process, to clarify what the appeal process looks like once an exam has been scored and notice has been sent to the candidate. We also have a regulation where we've moved a section out of it because it doesn't make sense in that regulation. This is Regulation 3, Applications and Applicants. Section 3 is now found in Regulation 10. And you'll also notice we have some definition additions. This is found in Regulation 14. We've added definitions for previously undefined terms that you'll see used throughout the regulations, such as appointing authority. Earlier, we had a public comment made regarding the change in Regulation 4. I mentioned it previously here. It's on that second list, examinations and eligibility list, the grading process. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit. That section has been updated to clarify what the process and the intention of that regulation really is. The purpose of updating this is not to prohibit appeals, but to clarify the process and to avoid confusion in interpretation of that regulation. Appeals and reviews go hand in hand. The purpose of this language is to appeal and challenge a score, especially if you feel something went wrong with your score. That's not changing. The process is just being clarified, right? So what you need to have first is take the exam. Second, get notice of your score. Once you have notice of your score, submit an appeal and review. The intention of the process is not to learn and perform better the next time you take a test. It's to really identify if there's been an issue with your exam and your score. Again, the purpose of this language clarification is just to clarify that process and what it looks like. Appeals are still available. I believe it was mentioned that you can only appeal the particular section that you believe went astray. That is incorrect. If you believe that there is something wrong with any part of the test, once you've received your score, you can appeal and review at the same time. So the purpose of clarifying this language is really to clarify the process. In the past, staff has received appeal requests before people have even taken the test. You can't really appeal something if you don't have a decision. You need to take the test before you can appeal that decision, which is the final score. So I wanted to talk about that part of the regulation just to clarify any misunderstanding. And with that, I can answer any questions you might have. Otherwise, staff recommends moving forward with the amendments to the regulations.
Questions from the council? Joe?
Just hold it.
Just push, you gotta push hard.
It's that seat.
All right, there we go. Can you hear me now? Can you kind of just like elaborate? I'm trying to follow you on this, so I know I'm new here, so you kind of going back to addressing that public comment. So if they haven't, if I take a test, I believe this is not correct or whatnot. How would I go about doing an appeal, or would that eligibility list already come out? Or
So generally, the way it works, you take a test as part of a civil service employment opportunity. Once you have taken that test, you get a score and then a final rank on an eligibility list. Staff sends out those notices to the candidates, at which point they explain what the requirements are through civil service, stating that if you wish to appeal, you have 24 hours to do so. So at that point, the person who wants to appeal would send us a notification letting us know that they would like to appeal and review their exam at the same time. Obviously, they'd have to have some sort of information available to them. In the purpose of a non-proprietary exam, we would share the exam to the extent we can. With a proprietary exam, we might not be able to share the whole thing, but we would summarize the information available based on any contracting. But yes, they receive their notice of score and rank, and then they would reach out to us to let us know that they are making an appeal.
and is that done through mail or?
It's generally done through email because we need it in writing, so it has to be in writing.
Okay, and is that so? 24 hours, is that same level like with Sparks or with Reno or Carson when it comes to civil? I mean, 24 hours is kind of a quick turnaround.
I'm not 100% sure. I don't know off the top of my head what City of Reno does, and I don't believe Carson has a civil service. But that's the amendment, the regulation as we've had here at the city has been 24 hours, and we weren't looking to change that. We were just looking to clarify the process to avoid any misinterpretation of the intention of that regulation.
That's regular 24 hours, not like business day or that's.
Well, we generally wouldn't send out a notice on a Friday, and if we did, we would count business days from there. So we wouldn't send something out unless it's during business hours.
Okay. All right, thank you. That's what I got for now.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Does that apply to, no, I lost my train of thought. All right, forget. I'm going to piggyback on Councilman Rodriguez, the 24 hours. I mean, just that's kind of a, so this has never been considered to extend that to like 48 or 72?
I can't answer if it has ever been something in consideration. Okay. But during this round, no one brought it up as an area of updating, and staff was allowed opportunity to provide input. And when I mean staff, it's all city staff, right? So not just HR. It was posted twice, and we did provide ample opportunity for that to be considered. But as far as I know, that was not brought up as an area of updating.
Okay. Can a polygraph be appealed?
I would have to redirect to Allison McCormick because I'm not quite sure.
Thank you for that question. Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager for the record. I don't believe that a polygraph could be appealed. That is beyond the civil service testing process. That is once a conditional off, they've passed all the tests, they've gotten a physical exam, and they are then offered a conditional offer of employment, and the polygraph follows that. So it is a job requirement for many of the jobs at the city, but it is not part of the civil service testing process. I would also add that there's a lot of, or some discretion on the individual department head about what might be disqualifying in a polygraph. It is not a pass-fail question. it is this area of great enough concern that we cannot employ this person in this job.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Ms. Spivey?
So back to the issue at hand right here. I guess with the 24 hours, is it clear and information provided to people through, because this is all through the Civil Service Commission, that people that are taking the tests and appeal are notified? They know what the steps are, especially as we've changed some of these, but people are aware of what the testing is and what that 24 hour, I guess, are they notified they have 24 hours if they want to? So it's something they're not blindsided and they miss it by a day. It's something that we make sure that people know at the time of testing. If you choose to appeal once you get, or when they get their score, is it real clear to them, these are the options you have if you wanted to file an appeal?
Yes, thank you. It is made very clearly in the notice what the civil service regulation allows. So we do notice candidates about that once they receive their score. We also inform candidates of what the general process looks like when we're proctoring an exam, so when they're going to take it, just so that they're a little bit prepared. Civil service is really new to a lot of people, especially people coming from the private sector. So since I've been here, we've really tried to educate the public and internal employees about what the processes look like.
Okay, Joe?
Yeah, just a little bit of follow-up. So with that, so do like applicants are coming in to test, they're like, hey, test scores will be emailed out on this date that's put out?
We don't generally give a date because anything could go astray. And we do let them know within a time frame, like 1 to 2 weeks, you'll be receiving your notification of score and or rank.
I guess I'm just kind of a little bit curious. I mean, so if I take a test, I want to be whatever. I take a test and I go on vacation, I'm not able to check my email because I'm on a cruise or something like that. And I come to find out test scores are posted and I'm out of the 24-hour window. Is that how that would work?
Yes, that is correct. That is how that would work. And we do suggest to candidates that they keep their phones and they keep access to an email that they can access at any time, especially if they're considering being hired. And if we're moving along in an active recruitment, it is essential that candidates actively participate in that process.
I guess I'm just kind of curious. Is there a way, like, are we able? Maybe I might look to legal to, like, give a little bit of a window of like 72 hours. Are we able to make that decision at the dais? Or I think, if you're calling, if you're sick and you can't check and 24 hours. That's kind of harsh.
Well, my first question is, do we have the purview over that?
That's civil service.
Yeah.
I think shooting from the legal hip here. I think we would want to send that back through the Civil Service Regulation Committee and have them bite off on it and take a look at it there. I'm not.
Just today I was just visiting our parks and public works folks, and they're overwork, and not enough of them. To say that this went out to staff, like, hey, well, this went out to staff to look at it. A lot of them are out there working, just like you guys are. So, I would like to see this go back, because I think 24 hours just going back to go on a vacation, and I can't check my email and come back and find out I missed out on a potential opportunity. I don't think we're doing our staff a service with that. It's just my 2 cents. So I would be no on the way this is written.
Allison, do you have something to add?
Shooting from the formerly legal hip, I would agree with Mr. Duncan that if there's a desire to change the time frame, it would need to go back to Civil Service Commission to do so. I would say if the City Council has an appetite to do so, you could approve the regulations presented and give direction to take the time frame back to Civil Service Commission for further consideration. Regarding the 24-hour time frame, I would like to point out part of that tight turnaround is for the other candidates who maybe aren't appealing, who want to know if they got the job. So I would caution the council not to look to extend that beyond some relatively short window, but we've certainly heard your feedback.
Okay, what's the pleasure?
I just have a clarifying. I just have a clarifying here. Since this was not updated since 2009, how often is it going to be looked at now when it gets updated?
I would say that we would endeavor to look at it at least every other year. And as issues come up.
Thank you.
All right. Ms. Bybee?
So we today, and I think all the work that's been done, and obviously an update from 2009 needs to happen now. We can approve the, what's on the agenda today of updating these regulations and then direct, I don't know if it would be Wes or the city manager, to pursue, to get more information on the possibility of the 24-hour, relooking at that, but that's not on this agenda item, but that would be an item for future discussion that we could do if it was something important to us, but the vote today would be on, and I support getting it updated now and maybe relooking at the 24 hours, but not today because we're not agendized to do that, so.
If council has an appetite to give direction to explore that further, I would suggest a very brief recess and we can revise the motion on the fly and then to achieve both.
Okay.
Unless Wes tells me otherwise.
You ready? All right, we're going to take a 2-minute recess.
So don't leave. So don't leave. Don't leave. Everybody stay in your seats.
City council meeting. Okay. All right, so now we are up to looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez, you going to make this motion?
Yes.
Got a motion from Mr. Rodriguez?
I'm reading it real quick, Mr. Mayor, so. So I move to approve the proposed amendments to the existing civil service regulations and direct the city manager to review the 24-hour appeal window in Regulation 4, Section 9.
Mr. Abbott?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Where are we missing? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. 9.6, consideration, discussion, of possible approval of a construction contract, AC 6090 with M4 Engineering LLC in the amount of $424,981.25 for the 2025 CDBG Pedestrian Infrastructure Improvement Project, federally funded, bid number 24/25-008, PWP number WA-2025-084.
All right, well, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Andrew Jankura, your new transportation manager. I have here before you a construction contract for the 2025 CDBG Pedestrian Infrastructure Improvement Project. This project aims to replace deteriorating curb and gutter, sidewalk, pedestrian ramps, and driveway approaches along 12th Street. So here is an overview map of the project area. As you can see, 12th Street is, the project area will be south of Audi Boulevard. The red line represents the sidewalks that will be replaced. So that is the entirety of the project. There were 6 qualified bids that were received for this project. Staff recommends council approve this construction contract. I am happy to answer any of the questions.
Questions from the council? All right, seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott?
I move to approve construction contract AC-6090 with M4 Engineering LLC in the amount of $424,981.25 for the 2025 CDBG Pedestrian Infrastructure Improvement Project, federally funded, bid number 24/25-008, PWP WA-2025-084.
Ms. Vanderwell?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. 9.7, construction. Consideration, discussion, and possible approval of a construction contract, AC 6091, with West Coast Paving, Inc. in the amount of $410,693 for the 2025 Preventative Maintenance Patch Project, bid number 24/25-009, PWP, hashtag WA-2025-112.
All right, well, good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Again, Andrew Jankura, transportation manager. I have here another construction contract for the 2025 Preventative Maintenance Patch Project. This is a patch project. It's a yearly program that provides permanent patching on various road segments in our city. Here is an overview map of the project areas that we will be focusing on. The area is in North Sparks, and we will be focusing on the Vista del Rancho area, the Red Hawk area, and the Los Lagos area as depicted in this overall site map. 3 qualified bids were received for this project, and staff recommends council approve this construction contract. I am happy to answer any of your questions.
Questions from the council? All right. Seeing none, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Bybee?
I am happy to make a motion for this project in my ward that people have issues with this condition of our streets. So I'm really happy we're doing this project in Ward 4. And I move to approve construction contract AC 6091 with West Coast Paving, Inc., in the amount of $410,693 for the 2025 preventive maintenance patch project, bid number 24-25-009, PWP WA-2025-112.
Mr. Anderson.
I'll second the motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. 9.8, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of an interlocal cooperative agreement AC 6093 with the Truckee Meadows Water Authority for reimbursement to the City of Sparks for actual costs estimated to be $659,484 for water main relocation in support of the G Street Sewer Improvement Project.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of the council. Rob Beadart, Utility Manager. The project is located on G Street between 10th Street and Pyramid Way. The interlocal cooperative agreement is with Truckee Meadows Water Authority for the reimbursement of a water main relocation in support of the city's G Street sewer project. The Tumwa water line will be incorporated into the city's construction project for the G Street improvement. The estimated price for the water line construction is $659,484. However, Tumwa will pay actual costs upon completion of the project. Adding the water line into the city's sewer construction project provides for a shorter construction schedule and reduces the impact on the traveling public and the adjacent residents. Funding for this project was in the FY23 CIP project. CIP. Staff recommends approving the ICA with Tumwa. That'll open any questions you may have.
Questions from the council? Don't see none. I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Abbott.
I'll make the motion and excited to get this road repaved too someday. I move to approve interlocal cooperative agreement AC-6093 with the Truckee Meadows Water Authority for a reimbursement to the City of Sparks of actual costs estimated to be $659,484 for water main relocation in support of the G Street Sewer Improvement Project.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 9.9, consideration, discussion, possible approval of a construction contract AC 6089 in the amount of $3,059,607 and $59,607.90. Don't forget that 90 cents, Rob.
Forget the 90 cents.
With M4 Engineering LLC for the Boise Drive Sewer Interceptor Rehabilitation Project, bid number 24/25-004, PWP WA-2025-033.
Good afternoon. Again, for the record, Rob Beadart, Utility Manager. As just stated, this is a construction project with M4 Engineering for the Boise Drive Sewer Interceptor Rehabilitation. This project is located within the McCarran Loop as shown on the vicinity map before you. The funding of this project was approved in FY25 CIP. The project will relieve an existing overcapacity sewer condition and also includes replacement of existing roadway pavement, curb, gutter, and sidewalk. We received 5 bids on this project. M4 was the low bid at $3,059,607.90. And staff recommends approval. That'll open it up. Any questions you might have?
Questions from the council? All right, looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwell.
And I will happily make this motion since it's in my ward. Thank you. I move to approve the construction contract AC-6089 in the amount of $3,059,607.90 with M4 Engineering LLC for the Boise Drive Sewer and Septor Rehabilitation Project, bid number 24/25-004 PWP #WA-2025-033.
Mr. Abbott.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. All right, 9.10, consideration, discussion, possible approval of a professional services contract, AC 6092, in the amount of $136,140 with Lumos and Associated Engineering Construction Support Services on the Boise Drive Sewer Interceptor Rehabilitation Project. Thanks, Rob. You wrote that one, didn't you?
Just for you. Okay, good afternoon. Again, Rob Beadart, Utility Manager for the record. This item is a complement construction project council just approved. This is a professional service contract with Loomis and Associates in the amount of $136,640. The contract will provide construction survey staking, material testing, supplemental inspection, and design construction management support. With that, staff recommends approval. I didn't do that.
Oh, everybody's tripping today. Okay. All right, question from the council? Not, I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Vanderwall.
And can I get clarification, because you said 136,640 instead of 140? Okay, all right, I just want to make sure. So I move to approve the professional services contract AC-6092 in the amount of $136,140 with Loomis and Associates for engineering construction support services on the Boise Drive Sewer and Septor Rehabilitation Project.
Mr. Anderson.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Now, with the indulgence of the council, can we go through and finish the rest of our agenda before we go to boards and
Please.
commissions?
Please.
Okay. So, thank you.
We've had people
So we'll move 9.1 to the end of the meeting. All right, 9.12, consideration, discussion of possible approval of the City of Spark 2025 legislative platform. Allison.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson and City Council members. For the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I'm seeking your approval today of the city's legislative platform for the 2025 session of the Nevada Legislature. That begins on February 3rd. The city's legislative platform serves two purposes. First, it informs our state legislators what policy concepts the city supports and what's important to us. Second, and most importantly for yours truly, is that it guides staff and our contract lobbyists and our advocacy on behalf of the city during the session. The platform is streamlined from prior versions and is organized around 5 key concepts that also happen to overlap with legislative committee names. Those are revenue and economic development, natural resources, commerce and labor, growth and infrastructure, and health and human services. One difference from the version of the platform that was posted with the agenda is here at the top. We have added the population of Sparks so that some of our legislators from other parts of the state understand how many Nevadans live in Sparks and are affected by their decisions. Staff does recommend approval of the legislative platform, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Questions from the council? Oh, there you go. You could have just said, okay. Go ahead, Paul.
I don't have a question. I just want to say kudos on making all the changes to this to simplify it down to where it is. And
thank you.
cannot imagine. As long as it was and all of our directions, you did a great job. So
Thank you. There was a lot of fluff, so it was fun to go.
Good thing for erasers.
Yes, exactly.
Anyone else? Yeah, I can imagine trying to read this from 17 counties and 28 cities and GIDs and everything else that no one's going to read the 5 pagers. All right, so I'm looking for a motion. Ms. Spivey.
Before I make the motion, I'd like to give you kudos also to how it has been pared down. And I think to everyone's point, when you hand them a one sheet and they've got a committee or they've got a bill coming up, they can look right category, kind of where we stand. And I think that's a good thing because we get their attention, hopefully. And I love that you added the population so that people know our size. So I'm going to go ahead and move to approve the City of Sparks 2025 legislative platform.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
9.13, first reading, Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a first reading of Bill number 2827, enacting Sparks Municipal Code, Section 10.60.135, distracted driving, which is to become effective upon passage by the Sparks City Council. A public hearing will be held, and Bill number 2827 will be acted upon at the regular meeting of the Sparks City Council at 2 p.m. on Monday, February 10th, 2025.
Okay. 9.14, first reading.
This is a first reading of Bill number 2828 to amend the Marina Village Plan Development Handbooks, residential, commercial, mixed-use standards, and other related changes to development standards pertaining to the Marina Square multifamily site on a 1.307 acre site located at 305 Harbor Cove Drive, APN 037-36003 and 037-36004 in the PD Plan Development Marina Village Zoning District. A public hearing will be held and Bill number 2828 will be acted upon at the regular meeting on the Sparks City Council at 2 p.m. on Monday, February 10th, 2025.
9.15, first reading.
This is a first reading of Bill number 2829 to modify a final approved plan for the D'Andrea Development Standards Handbook to modify standards related to signs within the commercial area within the 861-acre D'Andrea Plan Development, generally located east of Vista Boulevard, north of East Prater Way, south of Los Altos Parkway, Sparks, Nevada, in the NUD New Urban District, D'Andrea Plan Development Zoning District. A public hearing will be held, and Bill number 2829 will be acted upon at the regular meeting of the Sparks City Council at 2 p.m. on Monday, February 10th, 2025.
Okay, moving on to public hearing and action items unrelated to planning and zoning. We have 10.1, a public hearing, consideration and possible approval of a collective bargaining agreement. I should probably let the clerk read that out.
Up to you, sir.
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk. Were you ready?
Public hearing and consideration and possible approval of a collective bargaining agreement, AC 6087, between the City of Sparks and the International Association of Firefighters, Local 731, for the period of July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, with estimated cost increases of $981,352 in the general fund and $24,464 in the Development Services Enterprise Fund.
All right, Ms. McCormick.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson and City Council members. Again, for the record, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. I'm seeking your approval of a one-year collective bargaining agreement, or CBA, with IAFF Local 731, which represents firefighters, fire apparatus operators, captains, prevention inspectors, and the plans examiner within Sparks Fire Department. Key changes to the CBA include the following. The CBA would cover the current fiscal year, retroactive to July 1 of 2024. Pay rates have been revised in 3 key ways. First, $250 is added to base pay to allow employees to obtain cancer screenings that are common in the fire service. An 8% range adjustment is applied to fire prevention employees, and a 5% base pay increase for all employees is covered by the CBA is also included. The total cost increases for those three changes are approximately $653,000 in the general fund and approximately $14,000 in the Development Services Enterprise Fund. We are also proposing to add the firefighter recruit position at a base pay rate of 95% of the minimum base pay for firefighter. We have implemented this change in police as well as in our operating engineers contract, and it has seen particular success in the police department. So we're excited to make that change in the fire service as well. We have also proposed to add different degrees that are eligible for education incentive pay, allow employees to receive special team pay for up to 2 special teams rather than just 1. That change is estimated to increase costs by approximately $39,000. We have also proposed to add a 5% special pay for hours spent instructing or teaching within the department. That would just be for, say, a 2-hour class, not an entire 48-hour shift. Staff is also proposing to increase bilingual pay from $100 to $150 per pay period. That has an estimated cost increase of approximately $4,000. We are also proposing to increase longevity pay maximum from $6,000 to $8,000. That change is expected to increase costs by approximately $89,000 in the general fund and $6,000 in the Development Services Enterprise Fund. Staff is also proposing to increase the uniform allowance from $20 per week to $30 per week. That would increase costs by approximately $46,000 in the general fund and approximately $1,000 in the Development Services Fund. We've also provided a language change in the uniform pay section that would allow for front loading of 1 year's worth of uniform pay for new hires to make it easier for new employees to buy those uniforms that they have to have on day 1. We are also proposing to increase deferred compensation matching from $75 per pay period to $100 per pay period, increasing costs by an estimated $58,000 in the general fund and approximately $1,300 in the Development Services Fund. We have also increased the tuition reimbursement from $1,000 to $2,000 per employee per year and added flexibility in appropriate uses so that employees can use that benefit to seek fire department specific education that maybe doesn't lead to a degree. We've also proposed a change that would allow more employees to take annual leave at any given time. Total cost increases from all the changes, as mentioned in the agenda item title, are $981,352 in the general fund and $24,464 in the Development Services Enterprise Fund. Given the city's financial situation, those increases may be jarring. The CBA, however, was a result of extensive negotiations with city representatives and representatives from Local 731. We began these negotiations about a year ago when our financial circumstances weren't great, but weren't as dire as they seem to be now. Staff also believes that fair and competitive compensation for all city employees is a priority. Therefore, staff recommends approval of this collective bargaining agreement. Again, a public hearing is required, and I'm available for any questions.
All right, this is a public hearing. We're going to open it up to the public. We have one comment card at this time. It's Tom Dunst.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council, City Manager Luthan. For the record, Tom Dunn, representing Reno Sparks and Airport Firefighters, Local 731, and specifically today, you're members of the Sparks Fire Department. We'd like to thank City Manager Luthan and his staff with working with us to get what we felt was a fair contract for your firefighters. It's important to recognize that your Fire Prevention Bureau has been understaffed and has had some challenges as far as promotional opportunities and everything. And because of that, you've got a bunch of long-term employees that basically have had zero growth, both in their wage scale as well as promotional opportunities. And we believe that this contract helps resolve a big part of that. One of the probably the most important item in this contract for us is in regards to staffing. We understand the challenges that the city of Sparks has. Staffing has been an issue for this fire department for a long period of time. Going back to your most recent budget workshop, you can see that there's been a lack of staff and budget that has been allocated to this fire department for a long time. But one of the most important things revolving staffing for this contract is the recognition that 4-person staffing for engines and aerial apparatus is a best practice, number one, and is ultimately a goal of both the city of Sparks and Local 731. We are here in support of this contract and here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else in the public wishing to speak at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to the dais. Any further discussion? Questions from the council? Mr. Anderson.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and energy that you put into this over the last year, basically, and Leon, appreciate your guidance on it as well as Local 731. So item 9.2 that we talked about just a little bit ago, as the mayor mentioned, I mean, we're progressively going from, we didn't freeze positions, but we paused positions of new hire. We now have gone officially to a voluntary employee separation program. I'm trying to face an $18.1 million budget deficit. It's concerning that now we're talking about giving a part of the city staff $1 million increase. Can you help me understand, if this were to be voted down today, what would be the next steps and what potentially would be the result of that?
Next steps would kind of be up to Local 731. We could certainly return to the negotiating table and try to reach a different agreement with reduced cost impacts to the city, but they would be well within their rights to seek arbitration immediately. In arbitration, there's 2 phases. There is fact-finding arbitration, where the first arbitrator would consider things like our comparable agencies, whether our pay is competitive or not, as well as the city's ability to pay. Given item 9.2 from your agenda today, you might think that it is obvious that the city, had a strong argument on ability to pay. Unfortunately, it is not that simple. An arbitrator would look at ending fund balance, probably at the end of last fiscal year, so fiscal year 2024, when we were in a much different financial position, especially with a high ending fund balance from all of those one-time federal dollars during the pandemic. We would also be facing an uphill battle in arbitration, either at fact-finding or in what's called binding interest arbitration, which is the second phase. Local 731 would have a very strong argument about regressive bargaining if we did return to the negotiating table and said, never mind those proposals that we agreed on, we can't afford it now. They would have a strong argument that that was a bad faith bargaining practice.
Great. Okay, got it now. So we're in a gambling state, and I'm going to ask you to give me your odds. If this were to go back to bargaining, what would you say are the odds of it being favorable to the city of Sparks and reducing our cost? And I'm sorry if I put you on the spot there, but
slim to none. I would not expect that 731 would have much of a motivation to willingly agree to something less than what is proposed today. And as mentioned, they would have very strong arguments in arbitration if we got there. Perhaps 20-1, but I think that's high.
All right. Thank you very much, Allison.
Thank you.
I think it's low, but.
Or low, I don't know.
Ms. Bybee.
Obviously, all of us up here are sharing the brutal reality of where we sit financially, fiscally right now. As a fiscal conservative, this is a hard pill to swallow for me. But in good faith, we've bargained. This is what we've come up with. The timing is rough because all of a sudden we're looking at a very different picture than we did when you started bargaining a year ago. But it is what was bargained at the time. And this is, just so to clarify, this is a one-year contract that started last July to be retroactive, and it only lasts until June 30th of this year, correct?
Exactly.
Okay, so at that time, we're back at the table and back negotiating in the position, the reality of where we are right now. So things obviously are different today or when bargaining starts for the next contract. So I guess for me, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it is what it is, and I'm looking for this following contracts that we're going to have to negotiate, and keeping in mind that as much we would love to pay everybody everything that everyone wanted and help our employees and their families. But when you don't have the money, we've got to make some tough decisions. And so I really think that those are tough decisions we're going to make. But I also want to make sure we're cognizant of, as we're making decisions, I would rather be able to save jobs. And that's every bargaining unit, every non-union group we've got on this that works for the city of Sparks, looking at that reality, and we want to save jobs. So what's that going to take? And I think it takes all of us. I think every employee, every department, every bargaining unit or is going to take for us to make the hard decisions to get us all through this with, I'm the forever optimist that things are going to be better. Inflation is going to come down and that we'll be able to catch up. But kind of getting through this right now, I think we have to do it together. So thank you. I appreciate your work.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, then I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. Hopefully I'm reading the right one because I think I have my technology.
Right on your screen.
It should be. I do want to echo Councilwoman Bybee and Anderson. I appreciate you guys' work. I know it's not easy right now, and I'm a fast student of that. But with that, I do believe that safety and security is a cornerpoint of any city. So I'm happy to make this motion. So I do move that move to approve the collective bargaining agreement CA-6087 between the City of Sparks and International Association of Firefighters Local 731 for the period of July 1, 2024 through June 30th, 2025, with an estimated cost increases of $981,352 in the general fund and $24,464 in the Development Services Enterprise Fund.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
All right, we have a 11.1, second reading.
Second reading, public hearing, discussion, and possible adoption of Bill Number 2826 to amend the Spanish Springs Town Center Plan Development, Spanish Springs Town Center Development Plan, Design Standards and Regulations Handbook to add use and development standards for the climate-controlled mini warehouse facilities on approximately 8.9 acre site, generally located east of Galleria Parkway and south of Los Altos Parkway, Sparks, Nevada. APN 510-491-15 through 17 in the NUD New Urban District, Spanish Springs Town Center zoning district.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson, members of the City Council. I'm Dani Ray, Senior Planner for the record. So here you can see the very familiar by now blue boundary of the Spanish Springs Town Center Plan Development, and the subject parcels are outlined here in red. It's generally located east of Pyramid Way, and it's transected by both Los Altos Parkway and Galleria Parkway, and north of the Galleria Station Plan Development to the south. For some quick background, several months ago, the Planning Commission heard a similar item and recommended approval to the City Council. That item went to City Council for a first reading, and after a continuance requested by the applicant, A second reading and public hearing was scheduled. At the request of staff, the applicant withdrew that application before the second reading to allow for the creation of amended language in the handbook that would address the concerns of residents from Galleria Station, as well as the Planning Commission and City Council. Today, we bring a handbook for consideration that is clear and concise and provides numerous use and development standards that provide predictability for use, building architecture, site design, for when and if a climate-controlled mini warehouse use is established through the administrative review process. So this request amends the handbook in several ways. Handbook currently has use and development standards for many warehouse uses since approval of an amendment back in 2016. It does not propose to modify any of those existing uses in the handbook for the already permitted mini warehouse use. This amendment does not change the zoning within the handbook, but rather seeks to introduce climate-controlled mini warehouse as an additional allowed use and provides both use, building architecture, and site design standards specific to climate-controlled mini warehouse uses. So what is climate control? It regulates both temperature and humidity of storage units to provide a stable environment for stored goods for such items as furnishings, artwork, other items that may be sensitive to temperature and humidity extremes. These units are typically located in a single building instead of multiple buildings because the HVAC equipment that controls the temperature and humidity of the storage unit is located in a single location. So the current handbook standard for mini warehouse uses that are not climate controlled allows the office and caretaker unit building a height of 50 feet when located at least 50 feet from the property line. A mix of 1- and 2-story structures with a maximum height of 10 feet when adjacent to the south property line, and 16 feet for 1-story and 26 feet for 2-story structures in all locations on the affected parcels. Hours of operation are currently limited in the handbook to Monday through Saturday from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. No changes to the hours of operation are proposed. The proposed setbacks are similar to the non-climate controlled mini warehouse uses, keeping the 50-foot south rear setback for the taller 2-story buildings, although no manager residence is proposed. While existing mini warehouse uses may include a manager's residence up to 50 feet in height, 50 feet away from the property line, this amendment limits height of the climate-controlled mini warehouse to 32 feet, with 26 feet for that south wall portion of the building, again, 50 feet from that. So the development standards for buildings of other types of uses within the Spanish Springs Town Center plan development allow building height to a maximum of 60 feet for distinguishing landmarks and nodes, such as entry features, while large retail structures over 25,000 square feet are limited to 50 feet in height. Smaller infill structures less than 25,000 square feet are permitted a height limit of 35 feet. Setbacks for these potential uses are 15 feet minimum from Galleria Parkway. However, no additional setback standards are provided in the handbook's development standards for these uses. On the subject parcels that you previously saw outlined in red, the handbook allows as permitted uses a variety of commercial land uses such as retail, athletic clubs under 3,000 square feet, car washes, sports bars, bowling alleys, fast food restaurants with drive-through facilities, financial institutions, lodging, garden centers, and hardware stores, personal services, recording studios, service stations, supermarkets, and more. The handbook also allows conditional uses such as mortuaries, community facilities for youth groups such as a YMCA, multifamily residential uses, indoor-outdoor recreation facilities, as well as others on those subject parcels. So a traffic impact analysis or a trip generation letter was not required. One was provided back in 2016 with the handbook amendment for the mini warehouse. Climate control does not add any additional trips to the development. And a fiscal impact analysis was not required because the proposed changes do not materially change the amount of development permitted by the handbook. So various uses, including commercial and retail, restaurant, service uses, and single-family surround the plan development currently. This concludes the background and analysis portion of the presentation, so I'll move into the 10 required findings, try to combine them and try to go through them as quickly as possible. So for findings PDA, PDB, and PDH, this amendment promotes compact development within existing commercial land use space where infrastructure such as sewer, water, storm drains, and police and fire services are available, supporting both goal MG6 and policy MG11, providing flexibility in the services offered and provides variety to the existing commercial uses and options for residences and businesses in the plan development, supporting goal EV1 and goal CC1. Adverse impacts to surrounding residents and property owners due to these changes are not anticipated because many warehouse uses are restricted to the handbook's industrial land use category, which is applied to these 3 parcels only. As the lowest intensity use permitted in the handbook for these parcels, the anticipated development is compatible with existing surrounding residential use. And for finding PDC, fiscal impact analysis, again, was not required. For finding PDD, PDE, PDF, and PDG, proposed amendment identifies design standards for climate-controlled mini warehouse facilities to better provide for the mutual interest of residents, property owners, and the public. This amendment is intended to support the potential construction of climate-controlled mini warehouse uses in a manner that is consistent with the original intent of the plan that currently supports mini warehouse uses. Therefore, the reliance of residents and owners upon the provision of the plan will not be materially impaired. The proposed amendment is intended to provide flexibility in the type of construction, operation, and services provided in an already permitted mini warehouse use in the handbook to allow climate control. As discussed above under finding PDB, the proposed changes allowing climate-controlled mini warehouse uses are not anticipated to adversely impact properties within the surrounding plan development and does not alter the character of the commercial nature of the plan development. And finally, as proposed, the changes will allow any interested party to pursue development within the Spanish Springs Town Center in accordance with the handbook, making finding PDI. And for finding PDJ, public notice was given as required by NRS and SMC on November 5th of 2024. Total of 328 notices were mailed to all owners within the Spanish Springs Town Center plan development and within 750 feet of the plan development boundary, as well as published in the Reno Gazette Journal. As of today, we've had no public comment for this City Council meeting for the second reading. Planning Commission recommends approval of this amendment to the City Council. With that, I am here for any questions, as is the applicant and the applicant's representative, and I have provided on your screens the recommended motion.
All right, it's a public hearing. We're gonna open it up to the public. Anyone in the public wishing to speak on this item? None, we'll bring it back. Questions from the council? No questions? Comment?
Just a quick comment. I would like to thank Denny for your work, but also to the applicant for working with the neighborhood, working to address the concerns of residents that we saw here in several of our meetings with public comment. And I think that really is an example of how we come to a win-win for everybody. And so it's not my way or the highway for the developer or for the neighborhood. It's finding a medium in between, some compromise, and how do we make it work for both. And I appreciate the effort both on your part and then on the residents who came and expressed their concerns that we would find this is how it should work. So I appreciate everyone involved in making that happen. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right. Well, with that, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mayor. I too, just before the motion, I want to thank all the work that's been done between the city. I was hearing about this actually when I was out campaigning, and so to hear all the work between the developer and the city has been awesome. So I do appreciate that. So with that, I move to approve Bill 2826 to amend the final approved plan for the Spanish Springs Town Center Development Plan, Design Standards, and Regulation Handbook, PCN 15066 and PD 24-0005 based on the findings of PDA through PDJ and the facts supporting those findings as set forth in the staff report.
Ms. Vanderwell.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Being none, please vote. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Dane. All right, we're going to move back to what I want to do is take a 5-minute recess though. We've been sitting here for 3 hours. Yes. We're going to take a quadra, or what do they call that?
I've been on, I don't think we've ever voted on it. We can't address the.
All right, let's call back to order the Spark City Council meeting for the 27th with 9.11, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of changes to the mayor and city council boards and commissions appointments from the following pool of candidates, the usual suspects: Donald Abbott, Paul Anderson, Charlene Bybee, Ed Loss, Joe Rodriguez, Diane Vanderwell.
Thank you, Mayor Lawson, and good evening, City Council members. For the record, again, I'm Allison McCormick, your Assistant City Manager. As you know, each of you represents the City of Sparks on several boards and commissions across the region. On the screen about to be in front of you is a list of the current board and committee assignments, as well as over here on the far right, a list of all of those appointments that are currently unassigned. You may recall that in the past, we've followed essentially a three-step process for this shuffling of board seats. Each of you has first, each of you will identify boards that you'd like to keep and some that you might like to give up. We will then move those over into the unassigned list, move the ones that you'd like to give up to the unassigned list. Then, as we go through, we'll tentatively reassign the unassigned board seats to one of the group of you. And then at the end, once everything has been shuffled and reassigned, I'll ask for you to approve the slate of newly assigned board and commission seats. I would propose that we follow that same approach today. I'll move board and commission appointments around on this list as we go, and then that will be the document that ultimately I ask for you to approve. I am happy to answer any questions about this process, or if there aren't any questions, I will cede the floor back to you all to go through your boards and commissions.
Let me start off and just say I want to just keep what I have, if that's okay with the council.
One of mine is missing.
Uh-oh.
Not that I want more, but
All right.
Western
give it to
Nevada
Joe.
Development District.
Oh, we did. Wow.
And yes, there it is.
I thought it was as
Well,
well.
because it's not showing up on ours.
Strange. Okay.
Or yes,
Well,
it
it's
is.
back.
It is showing up. It
on
did.
ours.
It show up. It wasn't showing up.
It was the Excel file, wasn't it?
It wasn't
Like that Sparks rep one
Yep.
on the unassigned. Sorry.
Oh,
More to that too.
some rows are hiding. Okay.
You just
I'm
saw
sorry about
president.
that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Does everything else look correct? And I'll scroll down
So
for,
it needs to come off the unassigned, Donna?
No, it just said Sparks rep, and then on Diane or Councilwoman Vanderwall, it just said president.
Yeah,
Well, she could be the president. Like,
No, thank you.
I just didn't know what.
No, I do not want that. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if you're in agreement, I'd keep what I have and move forward.
Yeah.
You good with that? Okay.
I'm
Go down the line. Yeah, at Mr. Abbott.
I'm also good with mine. Obviously, I'm assuming I think Mayor Pro Tem's going back into a bucket. I believe. I think we were talking about 2-year terms. Vice Mayor.
Yeah, Mayor Pro
Unless you guys-
Tem should
yeah.
go back over to the unassigned.
Okay.
If anyone is interested in any of them, like I'm open to a conversation, but I am very thankful and blessed to continue serving our board on those current ones. Which, yeah, there's 7 lovely ones there that meet a lot and guaranteed to continue. And debt management, if anyone wants to be on it, I honestly forgot I was the alternate because I think Councilwoman Vanderbilt does an amazing job of attending. So gladly will continue being the alternate, but I'm good as it is.
Okay, Ms. Vanderwell?
Thank you. I'm good with all of my assignments. If possible, I would like to do CHAB. I realize that it does not meet a whole lot, so it's not going to add a whole lot to my plate.
Okay. Go ahead, put CHAB on there. CHAB is not a controlled board by the city of Sparks. It's controlled by the Washoe County. So
Am I removing that from you, Mayor Lawson?
No, open.
Yeah,
this,
there's two.
should be unassigned, but Ms. Vanderwell would like to be the other representative from Sparks.
It would be Christopher's.
Oh, I
Correct.
see. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Correct. There we go. All right, Mr. Anderson. Did you have any other changes, Diane, before I moved on?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
And I am good with all of mine as well.
Okay. Ms. Bybee.
I would be willing to put the Community Homeless Advisory Board, the CHAB alternate, out there. My others I am good with. Also on mine, I guess we need to add the redevelopment agency chair.
I did add that at the last moment. Down here
On the open one, or
on the screen. I added it right before we got going.
okay.
Sorry, the big screen.
Up on the big screen.
Redevelopment chair over into open.
We can put that in open. I'm up for discussion on that. I'm chair now, but I'm open for that one and the alternate on CHAB. So are we going to go back to the open?
we're gonna
'Cause-
continue.
Okay, because there's one I'm interested in over there.
So
but-
I know Joe has his eye on a couple, so you want to bring those up.
Mhm.
Would you like Mr. Rodriguez?
Well,
Okay.
Looking like the rookie, get the.
This is usually the way it works. The rookie gets the
Just
last
so you
pick.
know.
All right.
You get that
Yeah.
whole list. It's okay.
Okay, and share custodial services too, I'll be honest, I know I've kind of mentioned this to Paul, and I guess this would be a place to, really, the one board, I'm new. I know I got a lot to take in, but I am interested in the public health, really more than anything. And those things are out there. I don't know if, Paul, I mean, I know you've quite a veteran. I don't see things like Mayor Pro Temp or, development agency chair. I don't know, that's something that would probably be more your alley, or is that something you're open to talking about? Or?
Mr. Mayor, if I may have a dialogue with our member here?
You need it offline or?
No.
Okay.
Are we going back?
I was like, if I hear scuffling, I'm. The police chief still here?
So I guess what I would ask, quite frankly, is are there any limitations that you have on when or how often or anything like that you would meet? Because I'll be perfectly honest, I am finding that board to be more time consuming than any other that I'm on, even ones that I chair.
Yeah.
In fact, since I was appointed, we've had workshops, board meetings, staff meetings, an event that total up to 6 during a time where most boards and commissions don't meet. So we're talking November, December, and one was here in January. But seriously, I'm spending more time on that board than any other. And that's my concern on how much time you would have. And they're, just so you know, the days have been Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays are the days that I've had these meetings.
If you want, we'll put it up and it'll go to a vote, Joe.
I'll reflect on that for a minute. Other than that, I mean, I'm kind of open to learning whatever else. I know you guys got quite a bit yourselves.
Well,
Yeah, look at that.
I tell you
One of
just.
the
Or we can just keep it as it is.
Alternates are easy.
Yeah.
From a historic perspective, what we've done is kind of take and try to make each council member an expert in a particular field, water or whatever it is. So they're representing us.
No, understood. I definitely am interested in the CAB board, the homeless advisory, serving as an alternate in that capacity. I've always been a fan of EDON. I always love their lunches.
You could do the breakfast now.
Oh, sweet.
Thursday at 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So Edon for you as well?
And I mean, honestly, you know, whatever the pleasure of the council, I'm willing to become a student of water as well. So
I don't know if it helps any, but I could always take redevelopment agency chair, but that would open up vice chair. So
On what, Donald?
you part chair, right? Redevelopment. That was. I'm willing to take to be. I thought I was vice chair. Maybe I don't know.
You are vice chair,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah.
Unofficial.
Yeah. I don't mind becoming chair. If someone wants to become vice chair, someone else can become chair. I'll stay as vice chair.
When does the redevelopment agency close?
Well, we've closed the one, but not the second one.
I believe it is
2030?
2029 or maybe 2030.
Okay. Thank you.
29, okay, so we still have 4
Mr.
years
So
on
there's
that.
another 4 or 5 years.
Mr. Mayor, I'm
Yes,
willing
ma'am.
to take Tumwa.
The one thing I would say, if you're taking Tumwa, you would also need to take Western Regional
Western
Water,
Regional.
because they really go hand in hand.
Ugh. And you know, I've never done any water. I was thinking of one or the other, but they really, you need both of them.
Well, they both meet at right after
We
each other.
meet
yeah.
back to back.
Yep.
Do you?
Yeah.
One meeting, then the next meeting.
Well, I can take those two, and I will happily pass on to Councilman Rodriguez, because it does meet on Fridays, is Deck Commission. And every new council person
Yep.
should spend some time
Should
at
have
Deck
an
commissions.
opportunity on Deck
Yes.
riveting.
So, it is, but.
Riveting.
All right, so
Are
you're
there-
going to move redevelopment agency chair to Donald?
To Donald.
That means we need a vice chair.
I'll do vice chair.
Oh.
And then Councilman Rodriguez, being an alternate on governing board and RTC would
I
probably
think
be
we
good.
all are automatically.
Oh, are we
Didn't
all
I think
automatically?
we should.
Oh, that's
Isn't
true,
regional
for
planning
regional.
governing
Board,
board?
not on RTC though.
Not on RTC,
Not
though.
RTC, but regional
So I
planning governing
think,
board.
yeah. that
I
would
will
work.
be, for RTC, I'll be your alternate. I think I'm second alternate.
RTC is a Friday meeting, just so you
Yep.
know.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think I might,
Was
do we
it-
still have a
is it-
second alternate
No,
on RTC?
we only have
I
one.
had been at one
We
time.
had to change the rules at RTC for certain individuals from other jurisdictions. That's, it is a Friday morning at 9 a.m.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
Move that.
RTC.
Because it is an alternate. I'm kind of looking at what I'm left with, though. Capital Funding Oversight's the same committee. Alternate for regional governing RCBA. Tourism
while
doesn't
you're-
meet much. Water Authority. Oh, Water Authority. Oh, you mean Water Authority and, are there 2 spots on Water Authority?
Yeah,
Okay. So one was Christopher's,
yeah.
and then who has the other one?
Me.
Okay, and then do you want to give that one up? I've never done any water, that's all I was thinking.
If you want to be on sewer, Charlene, I'll give up JCC.
So I could do that by itself without blocking.
Yeah, and the neat thing on
taking-
JCC too is every 2 years, you rotate onto Western Regional Water Commission. So I've rotated on, off, on, I'm currently off.
Okay.
So it does add for 2 years, but Western Regional Water Commission is kind of a mixture of
Experience with
lots of
that,
water.
too.
Okay, why don't we do that?
You
I've
get
just
water
done no,
both- You get both sides of the water.
I've done no water or sewer, so
Water
I
out.
kind of, yeah.
And we
that
are
would be
on like
great.
off cycle of WRWC, just so you
Okay.
know.
So
Off
it'd
cycle
be-
as far as
Reno is.
Reno's a representative from the JCC.
2
currently.
years or every year?
2 years.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right,
so it would just be the sewer then.
move
so-
JCC to you, Councilwoman Bybee.
Yes, and then the Water Authority and
Tumwa and Western
So-
Regional really need to go together.
well,
Oh, I was taking those.
so Diane's going to take the 2.
Yeah,
Did you
those
they're
already
up there.
put
I
them
took
in?
them both, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you would remain as
You're
the alternate.
Oh, I would
Just remain
remain
as
the
alternate.
alternate.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I can do that.
Yeah.
I
Um,
can stay the alternate.
Mr.
on
Mayor,
that.
can I recommend, is there an alternate for the Northern Nevada Health Board?
No.
There isn't.
Can we have
So
one?
if Councilman Anderson doesn't make the meeting, who fills in for him from
We
the city
don't
of
have
Sparks?
representation.
Wow.
Yeah, they got pretty upset when I decided I wanted to be on there for the interim. and said I couldn't be on there.
Well, but there's,
I said, well, I'll be the alternate. And they
Yeah.
said, you can't. So,
do any of the other
I mean,
jurisdictions have
am I wrong on
alternates?
this, John, or does anyone know for sure?
I mean, do the other jurisdictions
Huh?
have alternates?
I don't think we've ever had an alternate on
Mayor,
that
I
board.
believe we looked into whether alternates were allowed several years ago, and they are not.
They are not.
It's
Wow.
kind of like the
For
RTC.
Oh, so if you don't show up, you don't
Oh, so does
get a vote,
RTC
obviously?
Is there
We
really an
have a-
alternate?
we have an alternate, but we have only one alternate because another place was making everyone an alternate and it didn't
Oh.
work out well.
We did have two when I first came on board at
Okay.
RTC, and now we just have one alternate, right?
That's something we changed at the RTC.
And I'll throw out another thing to Councilman Rodriguez. If you're interested, obviously I'm looking at this in my opinion, trying to keep it all equal-ish of our representation for all of us. We all get paid the same. If you are willing, I've been blessed. I've been on the Regional Planning Governing Board. I was chair of it for a little bit. If you wanted to switch, take that. I'll be the alternate. If you're not there, I can always fill in.
Keep in mind, it's every other month on a Thursday.
On a
afternoon.
Thursday afternoon at 2.
And I will tell you, I think planning was one of the hardest things for me to learn, but the best way, we have a great team
Yes.
of people that can help. I'm not trying to pass it on, but it was fun to kind of dive in and really see some neat projects that come up in regional.
And and I think you and I both got it when we were brand new. And I was a little overwhelmed because I didn't think, oh, I'm brand new, I shouldn't be on Regional Planning Governing Board. And Gino said, no, you need to be on Regional Planning Governing Board for.
Guess what?
Yep, Gino gave me a seat,
I
and
got it
he's.
when I was new in 2010. I'm still on it.
Are you willing?
That's
We
okay.
make that
That's okay.
that trade?
That's okay. I've probably been on as many years as you have on the planning side, so.
She has.
All right, so I've moved that over from Councilman Abbott to Councilman Rodriguez.
And I do have a couple more questions, maybe. On the legislative committee, do we have that up there?
We do not, and there is an open meeting law reason for that.
Okay.
All of these boards and your appointments on them, even if any of these boards weren't subject to open meeting law anyways, they would be because you are formally designating the Sparks representatives. So we have
Gotcha.
historically done the legislative committee, if you will, very informally, with the mayor and whichever of the council members the mayor designates, to keep that informality, which means we
Gotcha.
don't have to agendize meetings. And when Bill XYZ hits at 11 p.m., we can call you the next morning.
Got you.
To discuss that issue with the legislative committee rather than having
Got
a
you.
formal committee.
And just throwing out a possible idea, and I mentioned it to Mayor Lawson, I think we've had the mayor and one council member before. I think going back to our budget workshop, there's a large priority of trying to be more engaged out there. If we are able to have a mayor and 2 council members, I don't know. I know that doesn't make a quorum, but it's I'll just throw that out there in the ether.
Okay.
Just as feedback. I think it'd be neat to have, if we are legally enabled to,
So say that again, please, Donald.
have 1 mayor and 2 council members on the legislative unofficial
Yeah.
group.
That would
No, it
represent a quorum, wouldn't it?
No, because you're a non-voting member.
I
We
would
can
want
dive
a
into that.
They'll dive into it.
offline
From
with
the
legal.
lawyer.
They can, I think, dive in it offline, right?
Yeah. I'd want a
Because we're
ruling
not
from-
formally
Yes.
designating it
Right.
today, we don't need to decide that
I'd
today.
like a ruling from our city attorney on that, just to be safe.
I agree.
Because it's not included on this, we're not making
Nope,
a
we're not
decision.
going to talk about it. Yeah.
Sorry.
We're talking about it.
Cause,
Even though we're talking
So
about
stop
it, we're not
talking
really.
about
Yeah, stop talking about it.
Stop thinking about pink
Fight Club.
elephants.
On another note, too, I think it's super cool that we have 4 chairmanships right now. Chairships, whatever that word choice is, right now for Sparks, which, I think we all joke that the S is silent in a lot of things, but it's neat that there's a lot of us representing us on a regional level from the chair spot. So just give a shout out to our team.
Go for
Go
the
team.
good guys. Yay for the good guys. All right.
So is
Any
everybody,
other changes? The only one left is Mayor Pro Tem, and traditionally, that has gone to the person with the most seniority, which happens to be Mr. Paul Anderson. So should you accept this assignment, I'm formally putting you up for Mayor Pro Tem.
That would be an honor. Thank you.
Okay.
And the first runner-up, in the
First
case of, you can't fulfill your duties.
Does not go back to the previous Mayor Pro Tem. Does not.
This
Sorry,
is,
that's Patches.
this is an unwritten rule. It's not a rule. Okay. Is everybody happy?
Or equally unhappy.
Yeah.
Are you good?
Are you happy, Bill?
Do you want to still do health or?
Okay.
Well,
Do you think you have enough? Let's say health.
Before, let's talk about, so I asked the question about time. Do you actually have the time and the days that you can be there when, because in all honesty, I just want someone representing the city of Sparks that will represent it well, be there and be a voice for our city.
Right, and that's getting, I guess, again, going back to the understanding, the scheduled meetings, like that's something I can commit to. Randoms here and there, okay, I can deal with that. I can handle that. But if it's like a constant ever flowing, which, like, all right, hey, guess what? Next week we're meeting at 2, or in 3 days we're meeting at 4. Is that kind of how it's been going? Is that the norm? I mean,
Well, I'm still new to the board, so I'm not going to be able to give you a norm, but
Here's a guy with an answer.
board meetings have changed on days. Sometimes they're Thursdays, sometimes they're Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Workshops are the ones that seem to pop up.
Right.
There's
Wednesdays, Tuesdays.
with the RIMSA on there, with the idea, and I don't know where they are in all this, but when we talked about it was to take RIMSA and make them a contractor instead of a franchisee.
Right.
So we can get the GMET money. So I think there's probably more meetings just because of that, for the understanding of what it takes to get to that. But that's just a guess on my part, but it's up to you to
Actually,
work it out.
You mean you think Wednesday because that they were talking about Wednesdays?
No, just that there probably may be more meetings pop up as something comes along and say, we need to talk about this prior to the next meeting so that we can have a public meeting on it.
so just so you know, none of these meetings I've counted include that. So those are ones that I expect will be coming up more frequent.
Well, and I appreciate that and the insight. So, I know you and I've had offline discussions and have similar mindset on that with the upcoming RIMSA. So, if that's the case, I'm okay with what I have.
My counterpart, Mr. Martini, let me know while the council was having that discussion that Regional Planning Governing Board regular member right here and alternate now right here. We're under Councilman Rodriguez, so I've moved the alternate.
Hey,
over
he's
to-
testing shoulders.
No, I think.
I was willing to do the alternate.
He was willing
Okay.
to do the alternate.
We're doing a
Thank you.
trade-off.
Got it.
Well, and
Unless someone else wants. I think we all had to be alternates, right, for regional planning? I think we did
Yeah,
that.
as it goes, yeah, as it
we're
goes,
all
yeah,
alternates.
all of us should have the
Yep.
alternate.
We all are.
No
I
scales
have
on
it
this.
on mine.
Yeah. You need to take, yeah, you need to.
And the
take-
third alternate.
You need to take the alternate,
Falls,
the
it's on
R,
mine.
oh, no, that's RTC, we're good.
Regional Planning Governing Board alternate.
yeah.
Yeah.
So our members would be then, the mayor
Myself
and Diane, the
and
mayor,
Diane.
Diane, and Joe.
Right. And I'm
Joe
vice,
would be
and
the
I'm
member
vice
also.
chair. Yeah, and I'm vice chair now, so.
So that means she'll rotate into chair.
Yeah.
And then who's behind you? Is it Washoe County?
No,
Reno.
I think it's City of Reno,
Yeah.
because we're behind
And
Washington.
then Washoe
Had
County,
commit- or
and then it
commission
comes
real
back to
estate.
Spark. So we'll see a board position in 3 years.
Yeah.
And Allison, I don't know if it matters, but Tourism Facilities and Revitalization Steering Committee that I can never remember, that big, huge name, I'm chair. of that.
We're leaders of our community.
That is great.
Right.
So actually, I'll ask Joe, are you an animal lover?
Okay, that's a loaded question.
You pro animals or anti animals?
Because I am vice chair, but Animal Services Advisory Board, they typically meet on a Friday afternoon, and I'm not sure how that matches up with the others that you got. Fridays are typically a better day. What's that?
No, that's a good question. I don't know.
Busy.
Thursday
morning.
So on our other,
EDONs are always Thursday morning, early.
so we do have the other slide. Truckee River Flood Management Authority is the second Friday of each month. Regional Transportation is the third Friday of each month. And that's all the Fridays I see on this thingy that you sent us.
Yeah, Animal Services Advisory Board has become a Friday afternoon.
Okay,
So I don't think any of those other boards are a Friday.
But it's once a quarter.
I love animals.
Once a quarter.
It's once a
There you
quarter.
go.
All right.
Okay.
There you go, that's a good
We
one.
have a deal.
I'd say
Yeah, that's the right answer.
Oh, yeah. So EDON is Thursday morning, the others are alternates. When is debt commission, Donald?
Debt Commission is on, it just says February, May, and August. Councilwoman Vanderbilt might be able to do, when's Debt Commission?
Debt commission's on Fridays, and it is as called. So, yeah,
The others are all.
it's been a really light one, but, you know, so.
Houston, not there. So.
4 o'clock? 4 o'clock, Regional Planning Governing Board? Every other month. Every other month. You guys meet Thursday?
2 o'clock on
2 o'clock?
Thursdays. Every other month.
What was that?
Regional Governing Board is 2 o'clock every other month.
On Thursday.
Yeah, on a Thursday.
And those are fast. Those are.
Those are 1 hour meetings.
Yeah, they're quick.
And EDON's first thing in the morning because everybody's going in.
Everybody happy with the revised?
Going once, going twice. We good?
Just waiting on a motion.
Okay, we're looking for a motion then.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
move to approve the mayor and city council's boards and commission appointments with the changes discussed.
All right, Ms. Bybee, you can second.
Thank you.
I will second that motion.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, please vote. Joe, does yours work? There we go. Motion carries unanimously. And
Thank you.
with that,
Good job, team.
we're going to move on to comments from the public. Anyone in the public wishing to make a comment at this time? Joe? Bill? Bill?
Microphone, do you need a mic?
Good to be
Good
seen.
to see you.
Good to see you.
Oh,
We can make a motion and make them one.
yeah, we don't have that in our purview either, but hey. Why not? All right, thanks, Bill. Thanks for always showing up also. Announcement from the mayor, city council, and city manager. Do we have anything, Mr. Manager?
I just want to say thanks to the council and staff. I know it's a long meeting, a lot of meaty topics on there. Appreciate all of the attention to detail and conversation. We'll try not to make that the norm, but thank you.
Okay. Anyone from the council got any announcements? Okay. With that, then we are onward and upward to a new year in the city of Sparks, and I'm happy with the way our boards and commissions turned out. We look forward to great things, and we have great influence over this community and this little city of ours, and I really appreciate everybody's hard work. So with that, we are adjourned.
Redevelopment.
Redevelopment, hold on.
So does that mean he takes it?
Here's the chair.
He just got voted chair. It's yours.
Here we go.
It's yours. Do you
Here
need
we
a
go.
gavel?
Here we go.
That's funny. Do you have a gavel?
Here, throw it at him. Throw it to him.
You got it. Can I call another recess?
No. Wow, you let the power.
I'll get voted out of chair.
Power's already gone to his head.
I'll take it away.
The mayor exceeded his already. We're going to bank it for next month.
There you go.
Yeah, I had to call that last one.
Oh,
I didn't know how much more time I had.
no, thank you.
Perfect. We will call to order today's Sparks Development Agency meeting, January 27th, with a roll call.
Chairperson Abbott,
Who here?
members Lawson,
Here.
Bybee,
Here.
Vanderwell,
Here.
Anderson,
Here.
Rodriguez, Chief Administrative Officer Lauthen,
Here.
Chief Legal Officer Duncan.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, thank you. We'll go to public comment. Any public comment? I see none. We'll go to the agenda. Looking for an approval of the agenda. Oh, you're fine. Councilwoman Vanderwell.
Agency member.
Agency member Vanderwell.
Takes a while to get that.
I move to
Trust
approve
me.
the agenda as submitted.
Agency member Anderson.
Second.
With a motion and a second, please vote. Passes unanimously. I was waiting on my own computer. Item 511, consideration, discussion, and possible approval of the minutes for the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for December 9th, 2024 for possible action. Agency member Bybee.
I move to approve the minutes of the Sparks Redevelopment Agency meeting for December 9th, 2024 as submitted.
Agency member Vanderwell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously. 6.1, consideration and possible acceptance of the reports of the claims and bills approved for payment and appropriation transfers for the period November 23rd, 2024 through January 13th, 2025 for possible action. Looking for a motion. Agency member Anderson.
Move to accept the report of claims and bills and appropriation transfers for the period of November 23rd, 2024 through January 13th, 2025.
Thank you. Agency member Vanderwell.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Passes unanimously. There's no business items, no comments. 8.1, comments from the public. Any public comment? I don't see any. We'll close that. 8.2, announcements from the agency and chief administrative officer. Anyone have anything?
I'd like to welcome the new redevelopment chair to his new position.
It is my pleasure to serve in this capacity.
And thank the previous chair for
Yes,
her
thank you for her
service,
service.
Sorry, I forgot that part.
And as well as welcome the new vice chair,
Hey.
agency member Vice Chair Vanderwell. I don't know the right title, but we're going to adjourn at 5:35 with no more recesses.
Yes.